hate group marched through Nashville, and Mayor Freddie O'Connell took to Twitter, as Justin mentioned last night. And this happened a couple times this year where we've heard from the Jewish Federation saying that they love to live in a place like Nashville, but they certainly were working with law enforcement, and law enforcement was keeping an eye on this group, again acknowledging.
Receive tornado alerts. Download the Fox 17 News Code Red weather app.
It's Judge Judy's greatest hits with classics like
That's ridiculous.
That's a lot of baloney.
Judge Judy.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 17.
Fox 17 News, covering local stories that matter to you.
Like our low bond investigation that revealed numerous examples of violent offenders committing even more violent crimes while free on bond. We learned why judges were releasing them on such low bonds.
The Tennessee Constitution says you must consider the alleged criminal's ability to pay, but it also says you must consider public safety.
So we met with a state legislator to discuss the new laws passed to help keep violent offenders behind bars.
We're going to give the tools to the judiciary that they need to be able to hold folks accountable and keep our community safe.
Plus, this mother's push for answers, revealing a school's failure to report classroom injuries.
I was, rubbing his head. I can feel lumps.
She immediately took him to the doctor. The doctor told Shanika Jace had a concussion.
Our Crisis in the Classroom investigation exposed one school's oversight in a special needs classroom.
And we uncovered billions in Tennessee's unclaimed funds.
More than $1 billion in Tennessee waiting to be claimed.
Our story showed how to see if you're on the list and what you need to do to claim your money.
If you have 1, 2, 3, 10 claims, all you have to do is go in, you punch the red claim button.
Does it say how much money?
$50, under $25 to $50. $5, hey, a little bit goes a long way.
To see these stories, go to fox17.com.
And for more stories like this, watch Fox 17 News. Alerts, empowers, protects.
Migrants fleeing to America. Overwhelmed cities.
We do not have space to add more folks that arrive.
Spotlight on America investigates.
Federal government must take responsibility.
Escalating migrant care crisis.
Monday on Fox 17 News at 9.
.09 is the time here on this Monday morning in Operation Crime and Justice. One man has died after a crash in Montgomery County. Let's take you up there near I-24. Police are now charging a 68-year-old man named Christopher Mulwa with vehicular homicide. This is video coming in from Dash 10 Media showing that scene there. Police say that Mulwa was driving the wrong direction on I-24 when he hit a motorcycle that was driven by 21-year-old Ethan Tran. That collision was a head-on collision. Now, Tran did not survive that crash. The accident shut down the interstate for several hours very close to Wilma Rudolph Boulevard there in Montgomery County. Well, also this morning, Metro homicide detectives are investigating a deadly shooting they say is what happened when they found a woman with a gunshot wound to her head very close to the Alta Lake Greenway. Now, where that is very close, we understand, to I-40 at Dodson Chapel Road there in Hermitage. Police say the victim is a black woman in her 20s with long braids. If you have any information, you're asked to contact Metro Police. Fox 17 News is working to learn more information about a house that went up in flames in Brentwood. Happened on Williamsburg Circle on Sunday evening. Now, the Brentwood Fire Department responded to that scene. One person was rushed to the hospital with minor injuries. So what caused this fire to begin with? That is still under investigation.
Coming up in your forecast, we are dry for right now. By the middle of the week, showers and storms return. That'll be a shift in our weather pattern back to more comfortable air. We'll time it for you.
Clear traffic takes us to the north side. This is going to be I-65 at Trinity Lane. We're looking good up there so far. It will not look like this all morning. Promise you that. Things will slow down. We'll tell you more about it in a few. 4:13 is the time, and new this morning, the FBI is still investigating a motive in Saturday's attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Another big question still being unanswered at this point is exactly how the Secret Service allowed that suspected shooter to get so close to begin with. CB Cotton has more from Pennsylvania.
Former President Trump has been released from the hospital and spent the night at his private golf club in New Jersey. The FBI is leading this investigation into what they're calling an assassination attempt.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Shots fire, and former President Trump grabs his right ear before dropping to the ground. The political rally turned assassination attempt unfolding in real time in Butler, Pennsylvania. Secret Service ushering the bloodied former president off stage with Trump raising his fist in defiance.
We hit the ground and the police converged to the grandstands.
The FBI says the shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, is dead, taken out by law enforcement.
We do not currently have an identified motive.
Law enforcement say they recovered an AR-style rifle from the scene and that the attack came from outside the rally venue from the roof of a nearby building. The former president was seen hours later walking down aircraft steps after landing in Newark. In a statement on Truth Social, Trump saying he, quote, knew immediately that something was wrong and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place. Speaking from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, President Biden denounced the attack.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick.
Thousands of Republicans are on their way here to Milwaukee for their national convention, which kicks off tomorrow. The RNC says Trump will still be attending, and his keynote speech is scheduled for Thursday. In Milwaukee, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, in the wake of this attempted assassination of the former president, Donald Trump, there are now growing questions about how the sniper was able to obtain that rooftop access roughly 150 yards away from where the president was speaking. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan joins us live this morning after speaking with some local security experts to talk about exactly how something like that may have happened.
Yeah, Justin, after talking with this former veteran with years of security background, she says that this is very important and needs to be a learning experience for both the Secret Service as well as other security companies. Now, Megan Zavani is the CEO and founder of the Dahlia Group, the first female security company here in Franklin. She says that, like a lot of people, what transpired Saturday shocked her, calling it a huge security failure that cost the life of an attendee while also injuring others. Now, reflecting on this assassination attempt, Zavani says that the first thing that should have been done before any rally or event took place was securing the high ground.
The first thing that came to mind is, why was this high ground not secure? They're saying it was outside the perimeter. No, like the set perimeter that they made, right, but it was 130 yards away and it was a completely exposed and a vulnerable point, and this should not have been left open. It should not. We've actually should have had our own snipers up there.
Now, Zavani says that the response time after shots were fired were a part of this failure, allowing for Trump to stand up, capturing that photo of his fist being held up that should have never been able to happen. She also commented on the difference in protection levels for former presidents versus sitting presidents, pointing to the possibility of change in the current political environment. Now, as for former President Donald Trump, he will be here back in Nashville, taking place at the Music City Center. Will be the Bitcoin conference next week. Again, he will be here for that. He has said that he will. And as for Zavani, she says that really stressing the importance of this continuous security training, making sure that this does not happen again. Live in Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Madeline, thank you so much. And of course, we'll continue to follow the very latest on all of those things happening there in Milwaukee and beyond. Now, let's get to your weather this morning. It's going to be another hot one. Not as hot as yesterday, at least let's not hope so. Here's Greg.
Not quite. I mean, we hit 100 yesterday, so to hit that back-to-back doesn't happen all that often. It's happened once in the last 10 years.
Wow.
So that kind of shows you that we likely don't get there. We're going to be close. I'm calling for 99. I mean, at that point, we're just,
might
semantics.
as well be.
Might as well. So let's take a look here at a few other things that are moving parts in the forecast, and that'll be our chance for rain. It's small today and tomorrow, but it's not at zero across the board. I'll show you what I mean. Nothing happening right now, and this is what's going to keep us from getting into that 100-degree territory today and tomorrow. Rain chances slowly building, and then Wednesday into Thursday, a very good chance for not just showers and storms, but also rain across the board. Almost all of us get in on it, and that will help cool us down later on in the week. High pressure sitting overhead, which has kept us hot and humid and relatively dry for the better part of the last several days. This moves to the east. Take a look what happens. Here's 2 p.m. After around noon, the chance for a pop-up shower or quick firing storm right in the heating of the day can't be ruled out. Heating of the day meaning those times that our temperatures are in the mid to upper 90s and we have all this moisture to work with, all the mugginess we've been feeling. By sunset, everything dies down. We'll do the exact same thing tomorrow. Morning hours at 8 a.m. look dry. For the afternoon, here's right around 11, 12 o'clock, a few showers and storms pop up. Very tiny, very hit and miss. And they don't last long. They're not for everyone. There'll be little action on the radar today and tomorrow. And if you do get under one of those, it could cool you down just a touch. Best chance for rain is going to end up being on your Wednesday when that cold front arrives and does make us feel a little bit better by the end of the week. Today, another good pool day. If you want to get out there, just know 97 degrees by 2 o'clock. We'll stay in the mid to upper 90s all the way through 7 to 8 o'clock this evening. Hot one again. Didn't go with the 100 on the map though because of that chance. We could see a shower or storm and even a little bit of cloud cover building in. We'll call it 99 though. 98 degrees tomorrow and then a slide down into the 80s on Thursday and Friday. Yes, it will still be humid and yes, there'll be some storms, but 10 to 15 degrees cooler than that 100 degree mark is going to feel very nice to end this week.
Steer clear traffic at 419 this morning. A quick look over on the east side of town. This is going to be I-40 at Fessler's Lane. Making that drive in from Donaldson and Hermitage and places like that. You're doing fine this morning. No big problems out there so far. If something does pop up, we got you covered with Steer Clear Traffic live and local with you through 9 this morning. Well, happening today, the next phase of blasting over at Nashville International Airport will begin. Now, airport officials say this will impact the traffic on Terminal Drive, that is right there on the airport property, as officers will be stopping the traffic at several locations along Terminal Drive to begin that blasting operation. It is set to start right here, 1 o'clock. Is when they're going to get started with that blast, as I drop the marker here. But there is, be careful as you drive through the area. No, they could be stopping the traffic there for a little while as you make your way through, and it could be happening throughout the week. Again, 1 o'clock there at B&A is what you're looking for as far as when traffic could come to a standstill. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley will be speaking at this week's Republican National Convention. We're going to tell you a little bit more about who else is expected to attend and 4:23 is the time here on this Monday morning. Former GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley is expected to speak at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee this week. As her speech is expected to come up on Tuesday night. Now, that's according to a number of sources. Haley, of course, was former President Trump's chief rival in the Republican contest. The Republican National Committee says that the convention is still on schedule at this point, despite Saturday's assassination attempt against the former president in Pennsylvania. Now, you can get more local and national stories delivered right to your inbox on a daily basis. If you would like, you can sign up for our daily newsletter. You can do so over at fox17.com. By the way, the former president is expected to pick a vice presidential candidate to run with him later this week. Of course, when that happens, we'll have it for you both on air and online.
424 going for 99 degrees later on this afternoon. We just showed you a few moments ago an afternoon pop-up shower and weak storm cannot be ruled out. No severe weather, but definitely could get 1 or 2 of those dots on the radar for us. Not a guarantee, but at least a little action could help drop the temps in a few of our neighborhoods. So keep that in mind. I'd say lunchtime through dinner time. And even if you do get 1 or 2 of them, they're not going to last all day. Most of our day is going to be dry, hot, and humid. Taking a look, no one to mow. Yes, yes, and then no. Our chances for rain go up each day a little bit until the point we get to Wednesday, where scattered showers and storms that will lead into Thursday take over for most of us. So just keep that in mind. Even though we're still dealing with the heat, it's going to be harder to get outside and get the yard cut and also just do any yard work by the time we get to Wednesday, and especially Thursday into Friday. The weekend itself, Saturday and Sunday, minimal chance for rain on Saturday. I would just say about isolated storms on Saturday, scattered storms on Sunday. No aggressive heat. We'll be right near 90 degrees, decent temperatures at night, and it really will be just those afternoon pop-ups, kind of like what we're going to see today and tomorrow, that impact our upcoming weekend. You could always track along with us here. Maybe you see a dark cloud on the horizon. Want to know if that's coming your way. Maybe that is one of those little pop-ups. You can get the Fox 17 code red weather app. Leave it up here for a couple extra seconds for you. So you can scan that QR code or just go to the App Store, download it real quick. quick, and then I can give you alerts straight to you if you have to know about any incoming weather that could impact your day.
Steer clear traffic for you at 425. A quick look outside. Let's get you to I-24. This is close to Hickory Hollow Parkway. Should make that drive in from Antioch this morning. We're looking really smooth out there so far. No big problems in either direction there, and we are looking good. Now, things can change a little bit later in the morning, but right now we're doing just fine. Let's take a look at those drive times. Mount Juliet coming in at 26 minutes. Murfreesboro, 49 minutes. Franklin at 27 minutes in from the south side. If something does change, we got you covered with Steer Clear traffic as we're live and local with you through 9 o'clock this morning. I want to take a quick look here at I-40, very close to the Nashville International Airport. You can see right there the traffic is flowing along really nicely there in that area as well with no big problems. We do know Mondays in particular can be very, very busy over there at BNA with a lot of folks leaving after a busy weekend. I know I had some family in town possibly catching some flights this morning, but right now we're doing fine over there near BNA as well. Watch out for the blasting that is set to happen around 1 o'clock later today. Well, coming up, our coverage of the attack against former President Donald Trump continues. We're going to tell you a little bit more about the reaction coming in after that assassin's bullet narrowly missed the president there in Pennsylvania.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feeding America for our Sinclair Cares Summer Hunger Relief Campaign. You can donate by simply scanning the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com.
The light in this oven is ridiculously bright. Tell me you're a genius without telling me you're a genius.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Welcome back to Fox 17 News this Monday morning. We're hearing the latest from Metro Police on another hate demonstration that happened right here on 3rd Ave and Broadway.
Helpless to the fact that I didn't matter.
After years of unanswered complaints, one man has turned to Fox 17 News for a little help. We're going to tell you why this homeowner is now blaming Metro for repeated flooding issues. Steer clear traffic takes us out near the airport. We're moving along just fine, but that isn't always, this is not always the case, rather, as we're flowing there near the airport. We're going to tell you a little bit more about some of the things happening out there that could slow you up a little bit later in the day. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning, just after 4:30 now here on this Monday morning, and I'm Justin McFarland. We're going to begin with what the Secret Service is saying. They say they are now confident in their security plan for the Republican National Convention, which does begin today in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, the attempted assassination of former President Trump on Saturday raised a lot of concerns about the safety during the 4-day gathering. Federal, state, and local officials all spoke in Milwaukee yesterday, saying that the security has been tightened after Saturday's shooting in Pennsylvania, and now they feel like they're ready to go.
So as Mayor Johnson and Chief mentioned, this is a national special security event. That designation is the highest level of security designation that the federal government can determine. So we are confident in these security plans that are in place for this event, and we're ready to go.
The Republican National Convention will culminate with former President Trump's acceptance of his party's nomination for the 3rd time since 2016. That's expected to happen on Thursday. Well, we are following news about another neo-Nazi demonstration in the streets of Nashville over the weekend that has led to at least 2 people being arrested. Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey live for us this morning on Broadway to tell us exactly how it all happened right there on Broadway and 3rd Avenue.
Good morning, Justin. So Metro officers saying this happened yesterday. The protesters, the hate group, was marching, demonstrating with Nazi flags on Broadway, turning here to 3rd Avenue South. Now, it led to an altercation. We're not sure an employee from which bar, but an employee from one of the bars over here on 3rd Ave in the area got into an altercation that turned physical with one of the neo-Nazi protesters. So let's pull up the arrests on your screen right here. 29-year-old, let me get the name right here, excuse me, Ryan Scott McCann of Ontario struck the bar employee with a Nazi flag in the face and the ribs and is currently charged with felony aggravated assault and disorderly conduct, being held on an $81,000 bond. Now, the bar employee is Diago Buck. He was arrested for misdemeanor charges, according to officers, including disorderly conduct and resisting police, and Buck has since been released on bond. And this all does come as just about a week ago, another hate group marched through Nashville, and Mayor Freddie O'Connell took to Twitter last night saying, quote, "We should all work to both recognize the incredible power of the First Amendment while rejecting the most hateful and painful of its possibilities." Now, coming up in our 5 o'clock hour right here on Fox 17, we'll bring you some of the words, as this has happened more than once this year, from the Jewish Federation and what they have been saying in reaction to some of these demonstrations. Live this morning on Broadway, I'm Johnny Maffey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
We are still in a code red weather alert for all the heat that we are dealing with here. We had 100 degrees yesterday for the first time this year. That's the first time since last August that we had a triple-digit day, and now we're looking ahead to rain chances that slowly increase this week, especially into Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures drop later on this week. However, today and tomorrow, still very hot. Still in the upper 90s to near 100. Heat index values above the 100-degree mark. That has slid the arrow over to alert mode. We've been there all weekend. We're going to be there today and tomorrow as well. The dangerous heat for everyone. Now, no heat advisories for most of us here. That does not matter. Heat advisories for the Nashville area. The Nashville National Weather Service are when heat index values get 105 to 110. We're going to be teetering right near 105. So we're right there. We're just not quite in the advisory category. 79 degrees. That's our current temperature. We are clear. You would think it rained over Broadway. It did not. That's just our typical start to a Monday morning. Getting everything all cleaned up from the weekend. Taking a look. Temperatures holding steadily at 76 degrees in Murfreesboro, 73 in Columbia, 74 in Lewisburg. It's already warm and muggy. That's how it was yesterday morning and the morning before. Not much changing here in those departments. Here we go on a July 15th, Monday morning, getting out the door. 76 degrees at 5 o'clock, 75 at 6. Then temps begin to climb back near 80 degrees already by 7 o'clock. We'll take a look ahead to the rest of today and tomorrow and those high temperatures that flirt with 100. Then we'll start tracking some showers and storms coming up in your forecast.
Clear traffic out there for you this morning on your Monday. This is a quick look at I-65 at Trinity Lane there on the north side. Traffic in that area moving along very, very nicely. As we get you out the door here after 4:30, there are no big problems out there on the road. We're doing just fine. No major accidents reported in either directions. We're all looking good, north, south, east, and west. That can and will change. I promise you that. And we'll be here to cover it with you on Fox 17 News this morning, live through 9. We do have an update on a local homeowner's battle to get Metro Water Services to repair flooding issues in his yard. Now, John Cripps says he wants more to be done by the Metro Water Services and county officials. He has lived in his home for nearly 5 decades. Over the years, this issue has cost him thousands of dollars worth of damage. We are hearing both sides as Metro Water Services says that Cripps lives in a floodplain, so there's not much they can really do to stop this from happening.
I've got everything it takes to fix it down there on standby right now. I've had it for years, and I can do this.
Again, the Metro Water Services claims that they expect more flooding to happen. They're telling them it's going to happen again. Our Fox 17 News team is looking into what the difference is between Cripps's home and some of his neighbors that do not appear to have the same issue. We'll continue to provide you follow-up reports on this situation. Now, if you want Fox 17 News to investigate something happening in your neighborhood, you can send us a tip. We will keep your information confidential as we work to try and tackle the issues in our local communities. And don't forget to sign up to receive all the latest news updates by visiting our website at fox17.com. A former NFL player has died. We're going to tell you about the death and life of Jacoby Jones. Plus, Fox 17 News has a code red weather alert this morning. Live look there over 4:39 is the time. There were some big names who unfortunately died over the weekend. One of them is the former NFL player, Super Bowl champion Jacoby Jones, who died at the age of 40. Now you're looking at him here after his appearance on Dancing with the Stars. The National Football League made that announcement on Sunday, along with the two teams that he played for. Now, Jacoby Jones was known for scoring touchdowns in Super Bowl 47 for the Baltimore Ravens. The team says that his charisma, joy, and love could light up a room on even the darkest day. The cause of his death is unknown at the moment. Well, after a lengthy battle with breast cancer, the actress Shannon Doherty has passed away. The Beverly Hills 90210 and charmed star was surrounded by loved ones as well as her dog when she died. Sharon Doherty was 53 years old. Steer clear traffic this morning. Let's take a quick look at what we're dealing with here on I-40. This is very close onto Fester's Lane there in East Nashville. As you can see, traffic moving along pretty well over there in that East Nashville location. No big problems in either direction there. We are very, very light right now when it comes to the traffic, but we do expect that to change a little bit later in the morning as more and more people get out there on the roads. But as you can see, again, we're doing really, really nice. 65 Trinity Lane on the north side of town, also looking good over there in that location. Normal drive times for everybody, at least for now. But again, things are expected to change a little bit later as more and more people get in the road, especially right here on the north side, as more and more people get towards 65 Trinity as you make that drive into town. Well, coming up tonight on Fox 17 News at 9, we will cover the story of a mid-state grandmother who says that the Tennessee Department of Children's Services removed 4 grandchildren from her home. She says that the state placed the children in the homes of strangers. We will discuss exactly why she says her and her family have been left in the dark the entire time. That story coming up tonight on Fox 17 News at 9.
Waking up near 80 degrees already by lunchtime. We soar back into the 90s, near 100 degrees, 94 by 12 o'clock, but there's a chance a few of us might see a shower or storm this afternoon. We'll track in your forecast.
4:43 is the time. Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. That's a live look there at Nissan Stadium, the current home of the Tennessee Titans. Of course, they'll be back in action coming up here. Well, training camp begins middle of next week, I believe. But actual gameplay over there at Nissan Stadium will be happening coming up here in August. They're going to have an open practice over there coming up later this month as well. And then back behind it, what you can't see is a ginormous hole in the ground. Yes, I know ginormous is not really a word, but it's a really big hole in the ground where that brand new $2.2 billion stadium is going to rise. They've been making a lot of progress over there as far as getting that work done. So you can look for that structure to slowly rise here over the course of the next couple of years. A reminder, it is set to open in the spring of 2027. Well, this morning, we are learning more information about the suspected shooter in Saturday's assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. The Secret Service has identified the shooter as a 20-year-old from Pennsylvania. Fox 17 News' Addison Albert has more information about that shooter and some of his background.
An investigation is now underway into who the gunman was behind the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. We're in Bethel Park at the gunman's home to learn more.
I just know he was bullied. I don't want to say he was an outcast, but he was, you know how kids nowadays, like he didn't dress like everyone else, so everyone kind of put a target on him. He sat alone in lunch.
We spoke with Bethel Park alum Summer Barkley, who recalls sitting in history class with crooks.
He was quiet, but whenever he was asked a question, he was always very polite about it. He knew what he was talking about, and so it was never something that he was rude to teachers. Like I said, my history teacher loved him, and my history teacher was a great person. I never doubt his judgment, so, that was what was shocking for me, was seeing someone who had been seen as such a good person in class have this outcome. It was just a shock to me.
Officials also shared that there were multiple packages or bags on the farm show grounds that were considered suspicious following the gunfire. In Bethel Park, bomb squads arrived at the gunman's former home on Milford Drive.
If you see things like this happen on the news where people say, you never think it would happen to you, you never think it would happen to your town. I'm literally living in that reality right now. Like it's insane.
Officials say there is no word on a motive at this time, and classmate Summer Barkley says although Crooks enjoyed history class, his action in school never seemed politically motivated.
All right, we will continue to follow the very latest with this, and that includes reaction from the likes of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He is, of course, running for president himself as an independent candidate. He posted on X saying that now is the time for every American who loves our country to step back from the division, renounce all violence, and unite in prayer for former President Trump and his family. We continue to have team coverage this morning as the founder and CEO of a Tennessee security company is speaking out about what went wrong on Saturday as far as allowing that shooter to get a shot at former President Trump. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan joins us live downtown with some of the analysis from that particular security expert as Madeline, the former president, is scheduled to come here to Nashville in just a few weeks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And what happened on Saturday, she says, was a huge security failure, and things definitely need to change moving forward, especially as he does head to Nashville in the upcoming week. Now, Megan Zavadny is the CEO and founder of the Dahlia Group, the first female and veteran-owned security group here in Middle Tennessee. She says that the Secret Service and everyone else involved needed to act when they didn't. Reflecting on the assassination attempt, Zavadny believes that given this political climate, the protection levels for former presidents versus sitting presidents need to change, pointing to the lack of response times after those shots rang out.
The fact that he stood up and was able to get that magnificent photo, like that was a beautiful photo, and but as beautiful as that was and as charged as that was and memorable as it was, it should have never happened. He was completely, fully exposed. At that moment, they didn't even know if there was another shooter. And when you see his face clear as day, but you have the agents around him, but his face clear as day, there's nothing that would have stopped another shooter from taking him out.
Now, Zavadny also pointed out the roof of the building where the shooter was found not being secure, something that she believes should have been the first thing to happen before an event or rally took place. Now, former President Donald Trump is still planned to be here in Music City, here at the Music City Center next week. We will let you know if that changes, but as for Zavadny, the training as well as the investigations need to continue, making sure that something like this does never happen again. Live in Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Madeline, thank you so much. Well, not only are we dealing with hot temperatures here in Nashville, but there are other areas of the country that are doing so as well. Las Vegas, for instance, they broke another record. They had several straight days where they experienced temperatures at 115 degrees or above. Now, according to the National Weather Service, Las Vegas saw its hottest temperature ever on July the 7th at 120 degrees. That is more than 100 cities right now from Maine to California that have experienced some of the hottest summers on record. So, what about us? Let's get to Greg. He's got the very latest here. 100 degrees here in Nashville on yesterday. We're looking close to 100 yet again today, Greg.
Yeah, going 99 today. Yesterday was 100. It didn't break records here back home, but still, 100 is 100. We only had 2 days like that last year, and they were back-to-back in August. And now we're looking ahead to, can we do back-to-back this year? I really don't believe we get there later on today. We have a chance for a shower or storm this afternoon, so any cloud cover influence or any rain that comes down going to quickly cool down the atmosphere. But what is new this morning? Dangerous heat continues. Heat index values of 100 to 105. Keep that in mind. That's why we're in code red right now. Today and tomorrow, very tiny chances for a rain shower or two, maybe a quick boom of thunder. That's pretty much it. Better chance for rain is going to be on Wednesday and Thursday. A cold front moves in, going to crank down the temps a little bit too. Let's talk today and tomorrow now. This is not a guarantee that we have these that do fire, but there's enough instability in the atmosphere, meaning we can wake it up pretty quickly here this afternoon. Well, here's 2 o'clock. I would say afternoon, between noon and 6 p.m., a few of those little pop-ups cannot be ruled out, especially south of 40 and east of I-65. And that's not going to be long-lived either, but there could be 1 or 2 out there. And then same with tomorrow. Here's 11 a.m. taking us through 6 or 7 o'clock. tiny little specks in the radar. Most of our day is going to be dry for both of those days. The better chance, again, going to be on your Wednesday. Let's talk temps and let's talk humidity. 99 degrees today, 98 degrees tomorrow. You factor in dew points in the 70s, that spells a 100 to 105 heat index. That is why we were code red. That is dangerous territory to be in. After that, when the storms return on Wednesday and Thursday, look at the big knockdown in temperature. We'll go from hitting 100 yesterday, 99, 98 the next couple of days, to the middle 80s on Thursday and upper 80s on Friday. Yes, there will still be humidity. We're dodging showers and storms at that point, but overall, and generally speaking, a much more comfortable end of the week than how we're starting it. Weekend hovers right near 90 with a few more on and off showers and thunderstorms and nighttime temperatures that fall back into the 60s.
Stay clear traffic at 451. A quick look here at what we're dealing with on I-24. This is at Hickory Hollow Parkway. Should make that drive near the Tanger outlets out there. We're doing fine this morning. No big holdups in either direction. Exactly what we want to see, as we're not dealing with anything north, south, east, or west. 24, 65, 40. No matter where you're coming from, we're all good. Here's a quick look at your drive times right now. Hendersonville coming in from Sumter County at 26 minutes. Murfreesboro 50 minutes right now up I-24. Kingston Springs coming in from the west side, 27 minutes right now in through not just Kingston Springs, but back in through places like Bellevue and Fairview, places like that. We're doing fine this morning coming in from West Nashville. Well, all morning long, we will continue to bring you the very latest developments surrounding the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump that happened over the weekend in Pennsylvania. Plus, a Southwest Airlines is now looking to, well, cash in on the Taylor Swift
billion with a B.
Our story showed how to see if you're on the list and what you need to do to claim your money.
To see these stories, go to fox17.com.
And for more stories like this, watch Fox 17 News. Alerts, empowers, protects.
4:55 is the time in entertainment news this morning. Southwest Airlines has now entered the Taylor Swift agreement here, or I guess Taylor Swift cash-in program for them. The airlines announced that they were adding extra flights to and from New Orleans as well as South Florida in October. That happens to be when Taylor Swift's Eras Returns comes back to the U.S. Now, the final show of the Eras Tour is set to go in December. That's coming up December the 8th out in Vancouver, Canada.
4:55, a quick check of your forecast here, piecing a few more things together for you here on a Monday morning, and one of those is what we're going to do at the garden out there. We've been having to take care of it ourselves. I just mentioned the possibility of a pop-up shower or two. That is not a guarantee. So here's how it's going to work temperature-wise. We can kind of figure out, well, do we have to get out there and help ourselves? I would still say water this morning. 9 a.m., 84 degrees, 94 degrees at noon, and 98 degrees at 3 p.m. Those peak heating hours from noon to 7 o'clock do not do anything when it comes to adding water to all your plants, because these morning hours are going to be helpful. It's harmful with the evaporation in the soil. It actually could pull more moisture away from your plants than it helps with, so keep that in mind. After 6, 7 o'clock, you can get back out there. And by then, the rain, whatever does pop up, will be out of here. So if you don't get anything, and it's 6 o'clock, you can probably get out there, go ahead and know you're in a place where it's okay to go ahead and water. And even if you do it this morning, we're going to be so hot for so long this afternoon, it's not going to hurt either. Taking a look, though, we're oppressive for the muggy meter. We're in the 70s for dew points later on this afternoon. With those dew points in the 70s, we'll keep them there tomorrow and also on Wednesday. Wednesday into Thursday, cool front moves in, knocks the humidity down just a touch. Also, does a good job taking care of our temperatures. We'll go from the upper 90s today and tomorrow to the middle 80s by Thursday. One of our cooler days we've seen here in quite some time, but yesterday was our first 100-degree day of the year, and that's just a sign of things to come. We're here only in the middle of July. We know how many more hot weeks we have ahead of us, so any little relief we can get, I say we take it and run with it.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Here's a quick look at what we're dealing with here. This is going to be on I-40 at Festers Lane. You make that drive in through the east side of town. You can see traffic in that area moving along pretty well. No big problems in either direction there as you make that drive out and about there in that area this morning. So that is certainly great, fantastic, and wonderful news for those of you getting out and about there coming in from that side of town. Also coming up here, this is a look in downtown Nashville. This is at Broadway. Broadway making that drive in through downtown Nashville. We're looking just fine there as well. We will continue to follow things for you. We know that traffic can be a little bit slow coming through downtown, especially as big events start to come into town. But right now we're doing fine. Here is a look here at 24, close to the Tanger outlets. We'll continue to watch things for you coming up in the next few minutes. Well, new this morning, Fisk University hires a couple of new head coaches who are no stranger to Music City. So let's take a look here. The university has hired Jeremiah Crutcher as the brand new men's basketball coach. He replaces the former NBA legend Kenny Anderson in that particular job. Also, Marcel Mandy Scales will be leading the new men's and women's track and field program. Now, by the way, Crutcher is a TSU alum who coached at Whites Creek High School. Scales is a MTSU alum who coached at Cumberland University. They will both start their brand new jobs coming up on Tuesday. A shout out to Fox 17 News reporter Peyton Muse right there, the windup in the pitch. A little bit outside, but still got it there to booster the rooster as she had a great time out there. The Sounds took on the Iowa Cubs. They won the game 3-2 on a Sunday afternoon. After every game on Friday night, by the way, Fox 17 News sponsors the Fox 17 News fireworks show. Let's watch it again. The wind up and throw. You know, listen. Fantastic effort there. And she threw from the mound, okay? You can't, fault her. She didn't stand in front. She threw from right there on top. So that is fantastic news there. Congratulations to Peyton. A great time had by all. And good showing there by the Sounds, who took on the Cubs over the weekend.
You're watching Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thanks for waking up with us. Fox 17 News this Monday morning. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has this morning off. We're kicking off this Monday morning by sharing the top 3 headlines that she'll want to know before heading out the door. President Joe Biden is now calling on Americans to cool down the political rhetoric. This comes after the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Biden speaking for roughly 5 minutes from the Oval Office in a primetime Sunday address. The president is promising a thorough and swift review, but Biden is also asking the public to, quote, not make assumptions about the shooter's motives. Meanwhile, all eyes are now on Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. The RNC kicking off today in Milwaukee, and leaders say it's going on as planned. Security details were already in place, of course, but now they're expected to be even more heightened after that assassination attempt on Saturday. Now, former President Trump says that he's looking forward to speaking. He's changing up his speech a little bit. Later this week, he'll go ahead and accept the Republican Party presidential nomination for the 3rd time. Well, as the FBI's investigation ramps up, we're now learning a police officer encountered the 20-year-old shooter seconds before the gunman aimed for our former president. The Associated Press is reporting that an officer climbed to the roof where Thomas Crooks was hiding out. That's when investigators say Crooks pointed his rifle at the officer. The officer then went back down a ladder. Secret Service snipers ultimately killing Crooks. Now, new this Monday morning back here at home, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell is now sharing a message on social media after President Joe Biden's Oval Office address that was yesterday. O'Connell really connecting the assassination attempt to recent hate groups gatherings right here in Music City. We also understand the mayor wrote a message over on social media, and I'm quoting here, sadly, political violence is common throughout American history, as is hate speech. Fortunately, violent and fatal assaults on public leadership are rare, and that should remain our goal as part of American exceptionalism. He also goes on to write, right now, though, as we see people putting effort into demonstrating hateful ideology publicly, including in Nashville, we should all work both to recognize the incredible power of the First Amendment while rejecting the most hateful and painful of its possibilities. And the mayor's statement does come after 2 reports of neo-Nazi group protesters right here in Nashville over the past 2 weekends. We've covered that extensively. For a closer look, Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey is joining us. And we just now know, Johnny, that Metro Police arrested a member of one of those neo-Nazi groups in downtown Nashville. So what are you learning this Monday morning?
Well, good morning, Erica. So again, one of those recent hate group demonstrations happening just yesterday, and it was right here off of Broadway onto 3rd Avenue South, and that's when a local bar employee did get into a fight. Now, not as many bars here as on Broadway, obviously, but somewhere in this area is what Metro Police are saying, and it did lead to 2 arrests, including a member of the neo-Nazi group and that local bar employee. Let's talk about this one first. 29-year-old Ryan Scott McCann. He's from Ontario, Canada, and what Metro officers are telling Fox 17 is that the McCann stabbed the bar employee with in the face and the ribs with a Nazi flag. He's currently charged with felony aggravated assault and disorderly conduct, being held on an $81,000 bond. Now, the employee is 19-year-old Diago Buck. He was arrested for misdemeanor charges, disorderly conduct, and resisting police. And we have been in touch with local dispatch this morning. Buck has since been released on bond. Now, this does just come, like Erica mentioned, after things were happening last week as well, and also back in February. This quote, we've read it to you before, but I want to say it again. The Jewish Federation of Greater Nashville saying, after a similar demonstration to this, quote, "Nashville is an amazing place to call home and an exceptional place to be Jewish. We are not and will not be afraid. We will combat baseless hatred and anti-Semitism by living lives filled with Jewish joy, by building strong relationships with our non-Jewish neighbors, and by ensuring that we're doing all that needs to be done to ensure the physical safety of our community members and our institutions," end quote. So again, this all happening right here on Broadway and 3rd Avenue yesterday. 2 arrests and one of the people still in jail. Live this morning in Nashville, Johnny Maffey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Johnny, thank you. 5:04 is the time in Fox 17 News. We are in a Code Red weather alert because the heat, it continues. We're going to check in now with our Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus. And Greg, I was telling you earlier this morning that my mom and I got up at 4 a.m. on Saturday just to try and beat the heat for our morning run.
You said it was successful though, right?
Yes.
Did you get the run in and go from point A to point B? There you go.
We got the run in, but my goodness, even at like 4:45 in the morning, steamy.
It's still steamy right now. We're sitting here right now at 5 o'clock, and the temperature in the Nashville area is right near 79 degrees if we have factored in the humidity. So we're not done yet. We're code red for heat. It continues. The heat index later today between 100 and 105. That is where the red lights are on. They've been on all weekend. We have some much needed rain that's ahead of us, though. Not a lot of it, but every little drop is going to help. Here we are. Current temperature 78 in Nashville. Clear overnight into this morning. Sunshine for the morning hours. Afternoon, a little bit of cloud cover will pick up and could influence us with an isolated shower or weak thunderstorm. 78 in Nashville, 75 degrees in Murfreesboro, 73 in Columbia, 74 in Lewisburg. Very warm. By the end of the week, our overnight temperatures will fall back into the 60s. So everything improves day by day. But today, not much improvement here. We'll call it 89 degrees at 10 o'clock, 97 degrees at 2, 96 at 5, a high of 99 degrees. We did hit 100 yesterday for the first time this year. It's really hard to go back to back when it comes to 2 consecutive days of hitting 100. And I don't believe we do it today because of a few clouds that'll move in. I'll track and tell about the possibility of a shower or storm later today coming up in your forecast.
Greg, thank you. I told you also, Greg, how long it took just to cool down my car. It's tough out there. All right, just be careful of that. We're going to check in now talking about cars with driving. I-24 Haywood Lane. This is a live look over in Antioch. Now, right now, you're not seeing any kind of issues, no crashes, no slowdowns, not a lot of drivers out there anyway. So we'll continue sharing all of your steer clear traffic updates. Don't worry. We got you covered here on Fox 17 News up until 9 o'clock. Coming up, though, at least 4 people are now dead and 9 others are recovering after a shooting at a nightclub in Birmingham, Alabama. Police sharing a Monday morning update. Welcome back. 5:09 is the time, and happening now, early voting is underway for the August 1st primary, and we're sharing the updates, the polling times, everything you need to know. Now, there are 12 locations around Nashville to go ahead and cast an early ballot. All of them open at 8 a.m. and most close between 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. with a couple of locations staying open until 7 p.m. for your convenience. We also had the opportunity to ask voters if the recent presidential debate helped them decide who to vote for. Listen to what they had to say right now.
It didn't change my vote. I already had my mind made up. I just hope everyone gets out and votes. It's such a privilege to get to do it.
The numbers are continuously updating, but so far more than 2,100 people have voted early in Nashville.
There are too many families who have been devastated and destroyed because of gun violence in our city. And everyone in this room, to be frank, is just sick and tired of it. And it has to stop today.
Well, 4 people were killed in a shooting at a Birmingham, Alabama nightclub. It happened late Saturday night. We also now know that at least 10 other people were injured. The victims' age ranges are from 24 to 56 years old. Police say that a fight broke out during a birthday party inside the nightclub. They say soon after, at least one suspect drove by and then fired shots from the street into the club. Police, though, as of right now, they have not made any arrests. But of course, we'll update you as soon as more information becomes available about this story out of Alabama. In Operation Crime and Justice, a mid-state mother faces charges after police say her child drowned in a creek. Hendersonville police say this woman, 33-year-old Brandy Elliott, is charged with first-degree murder. They also tell us that her child drowned in Drakes Creek Park. It's right off Sanders Ferry Road. It happened Saturday. Elliott is currently being held, though, in the Sumner County Jail. It is always our goal here at Fox 17 News to keep you in the know. You can get more local reporting for national stories, too, delivered right to your inbox every single morning by signing up for our daily newsletter. You do that by heading here. It's our homepage. It's over at fox17.com. Greg.
The heat is on and it continues today and tomorrow. We're code red for both of those days, and then showers and storms begin to return slowly throughout this week. I'll have to get to coming up in your code red forecast.
And he's got your weather. We have your traffic. Another look over in Antioch, I-24 at Haywood Lane. This area looking good. We'll have all your steer clear traffic updates with Justin McFarland after the break. And right now we are also talking about the Republican National Convention kicking off. Right now, Fox 17 News, we're showing you right behind me here a live look over in Milwaukee. Now, today kicks off the first day of the Republican National Convention. We do understand that while excitement is certainly building, so are fears, with the event taking place just 2 days after the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. Right now, though, Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen is sharing much more from Milwaukee regarding security measures.
Security was already going to be extremely tight here in downtown Milwaukee for the convention, but now, just days after the attempted assassination of a former president, we can expect to see even more today for the start of the Republican National Convention.
Everybody's on eggshells here.
The assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump sending shockwaves nationwide, especially in Milwaukee, where tens of thousands are gathering for the 4-day Republican National Convention.
This is probably one of the most secure areas on the face of the planet right now.
Despite the horrifying events over the weekend, the Secret Service says their security plans remain unchanged. For 18 months, the Secret Service has been preparing to make this one of the most secure places in the world.
We worked in a bipartisan way with members of Congress to increase funding for this event because they had been stuck at $50 million going back to 2004. We got it elevated to $75 million.
This comes as President Joe Biden condemned the violent attack Sunday, stressing the need for peace during an address from the Oval Office.
Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, and God forbid, a killing field.
Trump issuing similar sentiments, posting, quote, "Unite America" to Truth Social. But as the investigation into his assassination attempt presses on, officials still don't have a motive. The official convention events and speeches start today. The theme is Make America Wealthy Once Again. We can expect to hear about things like taxes, inflation, and the state of the economy. In Milwaukee, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Connor, thank you. We're also continuing the conversation. After the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, there are growing concerns about how a sniper was able to get rooftop access. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan joining us after speaking with the founder of Madeline, a local security company. What is she saying about this?
Well, after talking to this former veteran with years of security background, she says that this needs to be a learning experience for both the Secret Service as well as other security companies. Now, Megan Zavodny is the CEO and founder of the Dahlia Group, the first female security company located in Middle Tennessee. She says, like a lot of people, what transpired on Saturday shocked her, calling it a huge security failure that cost the life of an attendee while also injuring others. Reflecting on this assassination attempt, Zavodny says that the first thing that should have been done before any rally or event took place was securing the roof of the building.
The first thing that came to mind is, why was this high ground not secure? They're saying it was outside the perimeter. No, like the set perimeter that they made, right, but it was 130 yards away and it was completely exposed in a vulnerable point, and this should not have been left open. It should not. We've actually should have had our own snipers up there.
Now, Zavodny says response time after shots were fired were a part of that failure, allowing for Trump to stand up. Capturing the photo of his fist being held up is something that she says should have never been able to happen. Now, she also commented on the difference in protection levels for former presidents versus sitting presidents, pointing to the possibility of change in this current political environment. Now, as for former President Donald Trump, he is still expected to be here in Nashville next week for the Bitcoin conference taking place right here at the Music City Center. We'll keep you updated on that as it happens. But as for Zavodny, she says that training and this investigation needs to continue to make sure that something like that what happened on Saturday does not happen again. Live in Nashville this morning, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Madeline, thank you. It's just about 5:19. I was just asking Greg, is this true? It is 79 degrees, and it's well, the sun's not even truly up yet.
It's 5:19 in the morning. No, your thermometer's not broken. That's just where we're at. This morning, just like the last couple of mornings, very warm. We're going to be on our way to the 90s, close to 100 again today. I say again because in case you didn't know, yesterday we actually did hit 100 degrees for the first time this year. Today I'm going for a high of 99. And yes, the sun is not up yet, but we'll start seeing our first rays of some sunshine here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then that sun comes up in about 20 minutes from right now. Taking a look at precip chances. Last week we just kept showing blank days and nothing. Now we've actually got a little bit of rain to work with. It's very minimal in terms of our chances today and tomorrow, but Wednesday into Thursday, rain does ramp up for us here. A cool front moves in and gets this heat out of here, at least for a couple of days. So here's how we start. Sunshine for the morning hours, very muggy all day. That humidity and then heat into the 90s gives us the chance for a few little pop-up showers and weak thunderstorms. This is 2 p.m. I'd say anywhere from noon to 6 p.m. if these little pop-ups are possible here on the radar. Hard to tell where they're going to be until they do fire. Most of us through southern Kentucky and our far northwesternmost counties in middle Tennessee likely don't work into anything. It's mainly a south and southeast tier of our counties that have a good chance for it. Then tomorrow we'll start off dry again with some sun. We'll heat it up. We'll do the same thing. Late morning into the afternoon, a few more pop-up showers and storms. You get the idea. Today and tomorrow, hit and miss, very few and far between, but at least it's better than nothing, because if you get stuck under one or two of those, the humidity won't go away, but at least it'll knock down your temperatures a touch, and there will be some on and off cloud cover. UV index for today because of that slight cloud cover. Moving in this afternoon, we're only in the high category. Still a 15-20 minute burn time, but it's not as bad as it was over portions of the weekend. Making it a pool day, well, 89 degrees at 10 o'clock, 97 degrees at 2 p.m. and 96 degrees at 5. So very warm the entire time. And again, not all of us getting rain, but it's at least a chance today and tomorrow. 99 degrees today, 98 degrees tomorrow. Middle 90s on Wednesday, and then that's when the cool front moves in late in the day Wednesday into Wednesday night. That'll put us all the way back down to 86 degrees for a high on Thursday. 14 degrees cooler than what we had yesterday.
Clear, clear traffic at I-24 at Harding Place. This is coming in from the Antioch area. Take a look here. You can see traffic moving along there pretty well. No big problems in either direction there. Coming in from the Antioch area, we're looking fine so far, but it is early, so we expect it to look just like it's looking right now. Coming in from Mount Juliet at 26 minutes, Murfreesboro at 50 minutes there, 27 minutes in through Sumter County, down Vietnam Veterans Boulevard into Nashville. Keep in mind, all of these times, I expect every single number here to go up as the morning goes on.
Justin, thank you. Let's talk about politics once again, because as we inch closer and closer to the next presidential debate in September, there is an ongoing discussion over whether or not President Joe Biden should stay in the race as a key topic of discussion. Some national leaders are calling for a replacement, but President Biden says he is not backing down. This leads to our question. We always want to hear from you. Take a look at our Fox Nashville X account, where we have this question for you. Has your opinion on President Biden staying in the race for the White House changed? As of right now, 86.2% of you all say no. This poll is still open, so go ahead and sound off by heading to our Fox Nashville X account or our Fox Nashville Facebook page. Coming up here this Monday morning, a special court in Montgomery County is trying to help military veterans who are facing criminal charges. We're going to tell you why some experts say that some crime.
5:25 is the time here on this Monday morning, and right now in Montgomery County, there are more than 80 current and former soldiers participating in the Montgomery County Veterans Treatment Court. Now, the goal of the court is to help veterans who are currently in the criminal justice system. The director of the program says a lot of veterans don't need punishment, in his opinion. They just need help, but they have a hard time asking for it.
I want you to look at that closely and don't just see a DUI. But understand that some of those are cries out for help. Some of these DUIs are actually suicide attempts. That's a little bit more honorable for a veteran than to dishonor their firearm and take that and harm themselves. So because of the culture that they live in, a lot of them have a lot of alcohol and substance abuse.
Now, Director Smith says a large part of his job, believe it or not, is trying to convince veterans that going to counseling isn't a bad thing.
5:26, a look at the forecast here, taking us out of the weekend into a brand new week, but same old weather pattern here. Pollen forecast has been down for a while, but we're starting to get to a new resurgence of some allergens that'll make their way here in the next month or so, but still not all that bad across the board. You might have a sniffle or two on your Tuesday into Wednesday, because before rain arrives, wind will pick up a little bit here, and then we do get a better chance for showers and storms that knocks things back down by the end of the week. 99 degrees this afternoon. Afternoon pop-up. Possible. We keep looking at it here, and we will every half hour on Future Track, but most of us are going to stay dry here. Likely not hitting 100 like yesterday because of the potential for rain and also some clouds that'll build. Sunset for us will be at 8:04 later on this evening. Let's get ahead to the next weekend. Yeah, we're done with temperatures near 100 pretty quickly here. By Thursday, we do get back to some cooler times in the 80s. We'll be in the 80s Thursday, Friday, and also Saturday. A few scattered storms both days of the upcoming weekend. Timeline still too soon to give us that specific little time frame we can watch each day, but it does show a fairly active pattern continuing into Saturday and Sunday. No aggressive heat, decent temperatures at night that will be in the 60s.
Well, we do want to provide an update this morning to vandalism onto the city's brand new Rainbow Crosswalk over in East Nashville. Now, supporters rolled up their sleeves to help and try to repaint that crosswalk this weekend. This is after a vandal recently dumped black paint over that colorful display. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell showed up himself to try and lend some support in the helping of that repainting taking place. Metro Police are still looking for the suspect wanted for dumping that paint. Coming up with steer clear traffic, this is going to be out in I-24 Waldron Road in Laverne. Out to a good start out there this morning, but things can and will change. We're going to tell you when and how it could impact your drive.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, our partner.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Welcome back to Fox 17. Just ahead, we're live in Nashville on the corner of Broadway and 3rd Ave, where Metro Police say a hate group protest led to a fight. We'll have the latest from police.
And right now, showing you this beautiful Monday morning sunrise over at Nissan Stadium. But listen, dangerous heat not over just yet. That's why Fox 17 News is remaining in a code red weather alert for parts of Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky. Is rain possible? We're going to check the chances.
Steer clear traffic at I-40 near Fester's Lane. This is on the east side of town. So far, so good over there. We're going to be checking in on that drive near the airport coming up in just a few.
Right now, though, we're going to start by saying thank you for joining us here on a Monday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has this morning off. Well, just 2 days after the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump, all eyes are now on Milwaukee, right behind me here, for the Republican National Convention. The Secret Service says, yes, they're confident in their security plans for the RNC convention, which again does begin today. The attempted assassination of former President Trump on Saturday, though, certainly raising concerns about safety during this 4-day gathering. Federal, state, and local leaders speaking yesterday in Milwaukee, saying security has been tightened after Saturday's shooting, and they say they're ready to go.
So as Mayor Johnson and Chief mentioned, this is a national special security event. That designation is the highest level of security designation that the federal government can determine. So we are confident in these security plans that are in place for this event, and we're ready to go.
The Republican National Convention will culminate with former President Trump's acceptance of his party nomination for the third time since 2016. We also understand that former President Donald Trump will be in Nashville at the end of this month. Right now, though, back here in Middle Tennessee, we're following another neo-Nazi demonstration in Nashville. It happened over the weekend. This one, though, leading to 2 different arrests. Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey is live on Lower Broadway this morning. And Johnny, we understand this all happened right around 3rd Avenue, correct?
Yeah, that's right, Erica. So what police are telling us is that the hate group, the neo-Nazi protesters, were on Broadway, and then they made it over here to 3rd Ave, turned down, and that's when a local bar employee got into a fight with one of them, leading to those 2 arrests, and we're not sure which bar right now that employee worked at, but we are looking down 3rd Ave at the moment, and we will pull up some of the mugshots on your screen right here. One of the men, 29-year-old Ryan Scott McCann of Ontario, he was a part of the hate group, striking a bar employee with a Nazi flag in the face and ribs. And McCann currently charged with felony aggravated assault and disorderly conduct, being held on an $81,000 bond. Now the employee, 19-year-old Diago Buck, he was arrested for misdemeanor charges, including disorderly conduct and resisting police, and Buck has since been released on bond. Now, this all does come just a week or so after another hate group marched through Nashville, and Mayor Freddie O'Connell taking to Twitter Sunday night saying, quote, "We should all work to both recognize the incredible power of the First Amendment while rejecting the most hateful and painful of its possibilities," end quote. And Metro Police Chief John Drake also coming out condemning the hate group as well and the violence surrounding it. Live this morning in Nashville, I'm Johnny Maffey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Johnny, thank you. Right now, we are showing you a live look over on Lower Broadway, talking about our Code Red weather alert. And listen, maybe you're visiting, you're new to Nashville. Well, just listen. It's going to be very hot. The scorching temperatures are continuing from over the weekend. In fact, leaders over at Tennessee Valley Authority say they've completed their summer readiness checks at all generating plants. Now TVA is prepared to handle the upcoming power surge that could happen over the next couple of days. Last month, by the way, marked the 6th highest demand for electricity for the month of June in TVA history. Y'all. Okay, so right now we're going to check in with our Code Red meteorologist because I want to know, based on how bad my grass is looking, if the rain is ever coming. I mean, it looks just burnt, crispy.
I mean, to say never coming is a little bit far, but you're right. We've seen so little that we're going to see the next really decent chance across the board on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And between now and then, still a lot more heat. So yeah, it's the crunchy lawns. We're trying the best. I know. Even if you're out there watering every day, it is so abrasively hot and humid that everything evaporates so quick. What's new this morning? Well, the continued dangerous heat. Heat index values now 100 to 105 today and tomorrow. Thunderstorms return for Wednesday. What I mean by that is there will be the chance for a pop-up shower or storm today and tomorrow, but any more widespread activity that really does a big shift in the weather pattern, that comes here on Wednesday into Thursday. Much cooler by the end of the week. You're going to see 86 for a high on Thursday. I know that still sounds warm, but when it was 100 yesterday, that's much cooler by the end of the week. That really is a perspective kind of a thing. 78 degrees today. We had a clear night going into this morning. Now sun is coming up. We have a mix of sun and clouds for the morning, and then the afternoon we'll have a little bit more cloud cover with 1 or 2 pop-up showers or weak storms. Let's compare yesterday morning to this morning. Maybe you weren't up early. Maybe you were. This one, though, is a good 5 degrees warmer almost across the board than the same time yesterday morning. Taking a look at hometown temperatures of 78 in Nashville, 72 in Dickson, 73 in McMinnville. Stepping out of the way of the map, we only have one Hometown reading here that is in the 60s, and that's at 69 degrees in the Lawrenceburg area. So it's still hot there. It's just not necessarily in the 70-degree mark. So what does this mean for traffic here when it comes to our weather influence on it? We're dry until lunchtime. That's when our next chance for a possible shower or storm pops up. Relatively sunny. Just a couple of clouds going to build. And then grabbing an umbrella in case. We'll go green light for right now, but later today there will be a few showers that we'll track on Future Track for you. In about 10 minutes from right now, we're aiming for 99 degrees today, 98 tomorrow, and then middle 90s on Wednesday before we do get much cooler going into Thursday and Friday and stay fairly active with some more thunderstorms possible into the weekend.
Steer clear traffic at 5:37 now. A quick look here at I-40 at Dulles and Pine, close to the airport. As you get out there this morning, we're doing really nice. No big problems out there near B&A. We do know early in the morning, especially on Mondays, it can be very hectic over there. But that far exit that people use out there for B&A, not very active right now. That's good news. Keep in mind, they're also going to be having blasting out there close to Nashville International Airport starting around 1 o'clock this afternoon, and they could be shutting down some roads. We're going to tell you more about that throughout the morning.
Justin, thank you so much. You just heard Greg a moment ago. The heat is on across the mid-state, and now state leaders are asking us to conserve water usage. We're going to tell you how to hopefully cut. 5:40 is the time. It's no surprise the heat wave has led to a drought in parts of the mid-state. In fact, officials in Franklin are now urging residents to voluntarily conserve water. Just watch how much you use. So take a look. We're sharing some tips that could help you. They advise to avoid washing your car. And if you have to water your plants, I always listen to this. Do it early in the morning or after sunset, and make sure to check for any kind of leaks. Now, also this Monday morning over in Dickson County, city officials, they went ahead and issued a burn ban on all outdoor burning effective immediately until the conditions improve. This announcement comes from the Dickson County Fire Department Fire Marshal, and we do want to make sure you're aware that this ban includes the burning of leaves, trash, campfires, bonfires within the boundaries of the city of Dickson. So if you want to read more about that, go to fox17.com.
All right, steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's take a quick look here at I-24. This is at Harding Place as you make that drive into town here this morning from the south and east side. We're doing pretty well out there, honestly, so far. No big problems in either direction there as you make that drive in from Antioch. We will continue to follow things, but we want to let you know it is going to be into our 6 o'clock hour when things start to get a little busier out there as far as the traffic is concerned. Here is a look here at I-24, another part of it here through the Tanger outlets near Hickory Hollow Parkway. Should make that drive through Antioch. Again, a lot of this traffic will start to slow down as we get a little bit further into this hour, but your overall drive times are looking great right now. Mount Juliet coming in at a nice 26 minutes. Murfreesboro, 50 minutes. If we can stay under an hour all morning, we'll be doing fantastic. 27 minutes coming in from Sumner County.
Justin, thank you. There are a lot of numbers behind me. There is a new United Nations report showing the global population could see significant growth in the decades ahead. Right now, though, look behind me. The world's population sits at about 8.2 billion, but it's predicted to rise to 10.3 billion by 2080. This report adds that after 2080, the population is then expected to slightly decrease by the end of the century. We understand the UN also reports that women are having fewer children on average than they did in comparison to 1990. Just some news you can use this Monday morning.
And coming up to your forecast, tracking a few showers and thunderstorms that.
Fox 17 News has continuing coverage this morning. The FBI is still investigating the motive for Saturday's attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Here locally, though, a founder and CEO of a Tennessee security company is sharing her expertise of what went wrong. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan with more.
That's right. Good morning, Erica. And after speaking with this former veteran and security company CEO with a huge expertise in security as an overall, she says that what happened on Saturday was a huge security failure and some things definitely need to change moving forward. Now, Megan Zavadny, the CEO and founder of the Dahlia Group, the first female and veteran-owned security group here in Middle Tennessee, says that the Secret Service and everyone else involved needed needed to act when they didn't. Reflecting on this assassination attempt, Zavodny believes that given the political climate, the protection levels for former presidents versus sitting presidents need to change, pointing to the lack of response time after those shots were fired.
The fact that he stood up and was able to get that magnificent photo, like that was a beautiful photo, and but as beautiful as that was, and as charged as that was, and memorable as it was, it should have never happened. He was completely, fully exposed. At that moment, they didn't even know if there was another shooter. And when you see his face clear as day, but you have the agents around him, but his face clear as day, there's nothing that would have stopped another shooter from taking him out.
Now, Zavodny also pointed out the roof of the building where the shooter was found not being secure, something that she believes should have been the first thing to happen before any event or rally took place. Now, former President Donald Trump does still plan to be here in Nashville. We still haven't heard otherwise, but he will be here at the Bitcoin conference that is going to take place right here behind me at the Music City Center. We'll keep you updated on if anything changes with that, but as for Zavodny, she believes that the investigation as well as training needs to continue to make sure that what happened on Saturday never happens again. Live in Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Madeline, thank you so much. Hey, listen to this. This year's summer heat is breaking records. According to a new survey, June was the 13th consecutive month to break a global heat record. More than half of the U.S., some 175 million people faced extreme heat on July 4th. I believe that. Scientists say, Greg, that heat waves are becoming a new normal. And according to the National Centers for Environmental Information, last month ranked in the top 10 warmest Junes on record for 20 states. I was trying to get the words together and get that all out correctly. I mean, it's just hot, and we're on a code red weather alert. Greg, we always talk about the best times to water our plants, and since we just talked about water usage, can you kind of just put that into more perspective?
There are certain hours it's not necessarily going to do a ton to help you out. I mean, it still is really hard to combat not getting anything and having 100-degree temperatures, but there are hours that help you more than other ones do. Think of a stoplight. Green means go, yellow means kind of got to be careful, and red means don't do it. Here we are, taking a look. All the way through 7 o'clock this morning. Once the sun comes up, you're good for the first hour or two after sunrise. We're not seeing the intense rays of the sun just yet. We get closer to that, the closer to the afternoon we go. In the afternoon hours, when the sun's right down on us, we have the high UV index. A quick rate of evaporation. That's when you don't want to water, because if you do, that water sometimes doesn't even make it into the dirt. It's just getting evaporated before it can even soak in and before the plants can use it. So now you're wasting water and you're still not helping the plants. So do it early in the day or do it late, right before we get to sunset. That's for your garden too, not just the hanging plants, the potted plants, anything that needs that extra water to grow. Those are your best times to do it. 84 degrees at 9 o'clock, 94 at noon. See what I mean? Those afternoon temperatures and the sunshine combined don't make it an easy way to make it through there without, picking the perfect hours. Taking a look. Yesterday we hit 100 degrees. Yeah, we did it for the first time so far this year. Right now, taking a look at a very calm downtown. A couple of clouds out there, very stagnant air, very muggy here this morning. This afternoon, taking us from noon to 6 p.m. Look at that on Future Track. Possibility of a pop-up small shower or weak thunderstorm, especially, I would say, south of 40 and east of I-65. Everywhere else, there's a chance for rain, but the more north and west we get, the lesser our chance is going to be. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow. You'll wake up, get a little sun, start waking up the atmosphere, and then we'll bring in a few more pop-ups late morning this time through right around dinner time. So nothing to write home about, not anything of cause for concern with severe weather or flooding or anything like that. But there could be a few little pop-ups on there. 20-30% chance, that's it. Best chance for showers and storms will be late Wednesday into Thursday. Cold front moves in. That's its job this time. We'll go from 99 degrees today to 86 by the time we get to Thursday and 87 degrees on Friday.
Stay clear traffic takes us out and about here to the north side. This is going to be I-65 at Trinity Lane up there on that north side. We're doing okay on that drive so far this morning. Traffic is going to start to build in pretty quickly as we moved in towards our 6 o'clock hour. So please be aware about that. If you're looking at your screen right now, you can see that traffic is starting to build up already there, but traffic is still clear. It's going to get slower and slower and slower as the morning goes on right here at this particular camera. We'll continue to keep keep an eye on that. Coming in through the heart of downtown, 24 Shelby Avenue. This is close to Nissan Stadium. Keep in mind, they're right on the other side of this building. This is a hotel. They're building a $2.2 billion stadium, and that's going to require a lot of truck traffic getting in and off of the exits here in this area. So if you're downtown Nashville, watch out for that as their work continues over the next several years.
Could that grant money have been better spent?
In the high cost of homelessness, the Tennessee Watchdog Group is questioning Metro government over these unused pods. Take a look at your screen. That's because they continue to sit in storage where they've been sitting since 2001. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker has the latest on what some are calling a $1.2 million mistake.
These homeless pods have sat in storage since 2021. Metro says the pods can't be used until they meet fire and building standards. But Councilmember Erin Evans says she's not feeling very optimistic.
It's all related to kind of testing of the materials of how they're manufactured and put together, and that's been the biggest stumbling block.
Last week we spoke to Evans, who says these issues were related to flammability concerns, but also 2 pieces of the material were never even tested by the manufacturer.
And we have these issues with now fire code, can they be used, all this. It's like, were none of these questions asked in the first place? Could they be ever used? Why wasn't this talked about?
Ron Schultes with the Beacon Center says this is just another example of how money gets wasted by local government time and time again.
I think this is a great example of even when government has the best intentions, it often just can't deliver. Here we are now, multiple years later, and we are still no closer to a resolution and having these used for its intended purpose.
If you recall, last week, Evans also said if we can't use these pods in the end because they don't meet our local code standards, she'd rather another city utilize them. But Schultes worries other cities will see what Nashville went through in order to get them up and running. Should the city recoup its losses by selling the pods to another city?
They're going to look at what we've gone through and say, well, we don't want anything to do with that. We're not going to take this problem off your hands. So could they? Maybe. But if I was any other city, absolutely not.
Now, Evans did tell me that other cities are using these pods, but since they're not meeting our city and state standards, she has been in contact with a state lawmaker, Darren Jernigan, to see if we can make any legislative changes moving forward. I'm told he is looking into this as we speak, and he is willing to set up an interview with me in the next couple of weeks. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17.
Welcome back. Meta says they are now lifting restrictions placed on former President Donald Trump's Facebook and also his Instagram accounts. The social media giant says this change is to ensure the former president and current president are on equal footing ahead of November elections. Trump's accounts were originally suspended following the January 6, 2021 attack over on our Capitol. We are now checking in with our Code Red meteorologist, talking about our Code Red weather alert day.
That it is, and here's the broad strokes of today. Back into the upper 90s, near 100 degrees. Afternoon pop-up shower or storm? Question mark? Yeah, it's possible. Kind of depends where we live, and that peak heating of the day from noon to 6 p.m. is the window of opportunity. Most of us will stay dry, but we'll look at that on Future Track for you when we get into our 6 o'clock half hour. Just know that this is not going to hit triple digits like yesterday because of a little influence of cloud cover and that rain chance. How do you connect with us? Well, anywhere you want to go on social media. If you want to go to Facebook, meteorologist Greg Bobus. Our X page is on Twitter, Greg Bobus WX. Good place to go to get your morning highlights every day, and then any severe weather. That's where you're going to find it in breaking real time. Also taking a look over at Instagram. You can go follow along. Also, if you want to see and meet our dog of the day next half hour, stick with us. You can submit those on Facebook as well. 7-day forecast gets us to the upper 90s today and tomorrow, middle 90s on Wednesday, 80s on Thursday and Friday. You see storm chances just about every day this week into the weekend. That's going to be our secondary focus. First, we'll beat the heat next half hour. Then we'll start talking about all these storm chances day by day.
Steer clear traffic at I-40 at 46th Avenue as you make that drive in through the west side of town. You can see traffic there moving in from Bellevue through the Nations. We're doing just fine out there. No big problems in either direction. Things are expected to pick up a lot more coming up here in our 6 o'clock hour, and the drive time is expected to slow down. We'll tell you where the biggest problems could be coming up here in the next few minutes.
Some positive news now in our community, making a difference. More than 600 children of Fort Campbell soldiers are almost ready for back to school. It's all thanks to a special mission just off post. And I love this story. Organizers for Operation Homefront, they handed out backpacks filled with school supplies at the Clarksville airport right near Fort Campbell. Look at this. It's part of their 17th annual Back to School Brigade. This is an initiative that helps prepare military children across the country for school. Organizers tell us that military children, well, they face some unique challenges, like having to adjust to new communities when their parents get a new duty station. Fantastic story, fantastic effort. If you'd like to read more about what's going on there and get involved with other back to school efforts, visit fox17.com. We have all the details for you. Stay with us, 6 o'clock hour starting right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Look at what happened.
Right now, Fox 17 News continuing to track the very latest updates after gunfire erupts at a Donald Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The former president sharing his perspective as we get more information about this assassination attempt. Right now, though, we do want to start by saying thank you for waking up with Fox 17 News on a Monday morning. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has this morning off. Well, the FBI sharing updates. They believe the shooter acted alone, and they also say the suspect was not previously known to law enforcement. Meanwhile, the Secret Service is investigating how this shooter was able to get so close without their agents noticing. So many folks want some answers. President Biden, though, has ordered an independent investigation into Saturday's shooting. He also spoke from the Oval Office Sunday, urging Americans to stay calm at a time when the country is on edge.
A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that.
Well, former President Donald Trump is going to accept the Republican Party presidential nomination later this week. All eyes on Milwaukee. The RNC convention is beginning later tonight. We also want to let you know that he's going to be here later this month for a Bitcoin convention. Now, back here in Middle Tennessee, we are continuing to get some more updates. And new this Monday morning, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell taking to social media last night after President Biden's Oval Office address. Now, McConnell tied the assassination attempt in with recent hate group gatherings right here in Music City. The mayor writing right here, quote, "Sadly, political violence is common throughout American history, as is hate speech. Fortunately, violent and fatal assaults on public leadership are rare, and that should remain our goal as part of American exceptionalism." McConnell went on to write, "Right now, though, as we see people putting effort into demonstrating hateful ideology publicly, including in Nashville, we should all work both to recognize the incredible power of the First Amendment while rejecting the most hateful and painful of its possibilities." Now, the mayor's statements come after 2 reports of neo-Nazi protest groups marching through Nashville over the past 2 weekends. We've covered this. Right now, we do want to check in with our reporter, Johnny Mathey, giving us some updates. Johnny, last night, Metro Police arrested a member of one of those neo-Nazi groups in downtown Nashville. We're going to hear from Johnny. Police say the protester got into a fight with a local bar employee. So, Johnny, you're in the area where all of this happened. What are you now learning from police? What do they have to say about this?
Well, Erica, yeah, like you mentioned, it happened right here. So we're on the corner right now of 3rd Ave and Broadway. So the hate group was marching with Nazi flags on Broadway, turned here onto 3rd Avenue South, and that's when a fight happened between a bar employee. Now, a lot of bars over here. We're still working to learn which restaurant that employee worked at, but it led to a fight and 2 arrests, like you mentioned. 29-year-old, on the left side of your screen, Ryan McCann. Now, he's from Ontario, Canada, and he was a part of that hate group and accused by police of, with the Nazi flags, hitting the employee in the face and the ribs. He's currently charged with felony aggravated assault and disorderly conduct, being held on an $81,000 bond. Again, that's McCann on the left side of your screen, and the employee was 19-year-old Diago Buck, arrested for misdemeanor charges, disorderly conduct and resisting police. And we have been in contact with dispatch just this morning, saying that Buck has been released on bond. Now, another thing is this has happened a few times, just last week, also earlier this year. Now, I want to read you this quote. It was back in February, but it stands still today at the Jewish Federation of Greater Nashville, saying, quote, "Nashville is an amazing place to call home and an exceptional place to be Jewish. We are not and will not be afraid. We will combat baseless hatred and anti-Semitism by living lives filled with Jewish joy, by building strong relationships with our non-Jewish neighbors, and by ensuring that we're doing all that needs to be done to ensure the physical safety of our community members and our institutions," end quote. And the chief of Metro Police, John Drake, also coming out and condemning the violence happening. Again, it happened Sunday night right here on the corner of 3rd Ave and Broadway, and we'll continue to follow this work to learn more about the fallout of everything happening over the weekend. Live this morning in Nashville, Johnny Maffey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
6:05, we are on a Code Red weather alert, but we were over the weekend as well because of the heat. It's the dangerous heat that has us with the red lights on again today. Heat index value, that heat humidity combination, 100 to 105 today and also tomorrow. That's what's keeping us in Code Red. There will be a few showers and storms that are possible today and tomorrow. It's a really small chance in a narrow window of time that we'll look at, but it's much needed rainfall. We're going to look at the calendar here so far for this month when it comes to the heat and it comes to rainfall, and the two are not liking each other. One is heavily influencing the other, and I bet you can guess which one is winning when it comes to the more aggressive calendar we'll look at. That's about 8 minutes away from right now. Dangerous heat does continue, so it has slid the arrow over into alert mode. It'll stay there today and tomorrow. And the thunderstorm activity that we do potentially see for your Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, not putting us in Code Red for any severe weather. We're still at 77 degrees. The sun is up. The humidity is through the roof. And now what to wear? I've added the umbrella back into the closet. It's still all the summer clothes, all the light clothing. I would also go with toes-closed shoes, just in case we do get stuck under one of those quick pop-up showers or weak storms, because they could put down quite a bit of rain in a very short amount of time. Out the door, generally speaking, here on this Monday, July 15th. Temperatures well above average this afternoon. We're already starting there, way above where we're supposed to be this time of the morning. 77 degrees at 8 a.m., or I should say at 7 a.m., 80 degrees at 8 o'clock, and 84 at 9 a.m.
Let's check in on your steer clear traffic this morning. This is going to be a look here at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard here, very close to Gallatin Pike there as you make that drive in from Goodlettsville. We're looking good over there in that particular area. No big problems out there so far, but we are just now getting started here in our 6 o'clock hour. We've also received word about a possible crash over on the west side of town. We're going to be taking a closer look at that coming up here in the next few seconds. Your overall drive times right now, though, looking good from Clarksville at 58 minutes. Murfreesboro, 50 minutes on that drive, 37 minutes in from Gallatin. That includes Vietnam vets I just showed you a short time ago.
After the break, a special court in Montgomery County is trying to help military veterans who are facing criminal charges. We're going to tell you why some experts say that some crimes are actually cries for help. And right now, Fox 17 News taking a live look over in Metro Center, talking about our Code Red weather alert. Oh, this shot is over at Nissan Stadium. All right, you can see the sunrise there. They're also, if you take a closer look, doing a lot of construction in that area for the new stadium. We'll talk about the temperatures that are not slowing down. Stay with us for your full forecast.
Migrants fleeing to America. Overwhelmed cities.
This issue will destroy New York City.
Money and care costs.
We do not have space to add more folks that arrive, nor do we have staff to support them.
Spotlight on America investigates.
The federal government must take responsibility and lead on this humanitarian crisis.
Escalating migrant care crisis.
Tonight on Fox 17 News at 9.
Fox 17 News at 9, covering local stories with in-depth analysis.
Convicted child rapists could face the death penalty.
Death penalty is not a deterrent to crimes.
Many of these executions resulted in unusual pain and suffering.
Fox 17 News at 9, digging deeper into local stories that impact you.
Calling all generations. Plan your next memory at gatlinburg.com. Home, where routine meets remarkable. With
with unexpected moments of inspiration around every corner and through every window. Quiet mornings in the sun, with portals to new worlds, and fine dining with a view. Your window treatments should be as inspiring as your home and the remarkable routine of your daily life. 3-day blinds.
A loving grandmother of 4 claims the state took her grandchildren away and gave them to strangers. Why she says she and her family are being left in the dark. Tonight at 9.
The Champions Wildcard competition continues on Jeopardy!
.610 is the time. Right now in Montgomery County, there are more than 80 current and former soldiers participating in the Montgomery County Veterans Treatment Court. Now, the goal of this particular court is to help veterans who are in the criminal justice system, but they are looking for a bit of a second chance. The director says a lot of the veterans don't need punishment. They actually just need help. And sometimes the crimes they commit is a plea for help. They just have a hard time asking for it.
Some of these cases they have some acute emotional trauma that they're dealing with. And it could just be a one-time event, something happens and they go out and maybe overindulge and then hit the streets. Others, it's chronic emotional trauma from multiple deployments and just a life of challenging circumstances. But this program allows us the opportunity to get with those individuals, lead them towards treatment and therapy, get them the benefits they need, and in some cases, save some careers.
Now, the director says a large part of his job, believe it or not, is trying to convince veterans that going to counseling isn't really a bad thing. Well, also this morning, the Metro homicide detectives are investigating a deadly shooting. They say they found a woman with a gunshot wound to her head. This happened at the Alta Lake Greenway trailhead. That's very close to I-40, very close to the Dodson Chapel Road area in Hermitage. They say the victim is a black woman in her 20s who had long braids. If you have any information, you're asked to contact Metro Police.
Coming up in the forecast, we're working our way into another hot day. Oh, you can already tell. Even looking hot out there right now. How close to 100 we'll be and how many more times we'll get near that mark coming your way in a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic takes us to I-40 at Fessler's Lane east of downtown.
The Republican National Convention carrying on after an attempt on former President Trump's life. Trump flying from his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club to Milwaukee Sunday afternoon.
I think people are excited about it. I hope it's going to help a bigger turnout for the Republicans, hopefully.
After Saturday's events, the RNC security perimeter will not be expanded, and civilians will still be allowed to carry firearms outside the perimeter.
Our state law allows for the particular right to carry a firearm. We as a city cannot legislate out of that.
Downtown Milwaukee blanketed with law enforcement, especially surrounding Pfizer Forum, where delegates will gather, and the Pfister Hotel, where Trump is staying. But this time feels far from routine. From volunteers to sitting members of Congress, here in Milwaukee, it seems all anyone is talking about is the shock of an assassination attempt on the man they're about to formally nominate as their presidential candidate.
I'm literally beyond words at what has happened there.
I got a phone call from my brother, and I couldn't believe it. And he said, no, it really happened.
President Biden ordering an independent review of what happened at the Pennsylvania rally and how, and for the findings to be made public. And
I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention.
An estimated 50,000 delegates, media, law enforcement, and visitors are expected. Even before the Trump rally shooting, the Department of Homeland Security designated the RNC as a Tier 1 event with national and/or international importance that requires extensive federal interagency support. Local and state police aiding federal law enforcement ranging from Secret Service to the Coast Guard and Customs and Border Patrol, monitoring the skies and nearby Lake Michigan, Milwaukee, and Menominee rivers.
Very confident in the security situation here in Milwaukee. This is probably one of the most secure areas on the planet.
Capitol Police is also here to protect sitting members of Congress attending the convention, a necessity. Last year alone, Capitol Police's threat assessment team handled more than 8,000 cases. Wisconsin GOP Chair Brian Schimming says despite the shooting, the convention schedule will go on as planned. That includes the vice presidential nomination on Wednesday and the presidential nomination on Thursday. In Milwaukee, I'm Atrell Nishar.
Audra, thank you. From Milwaukee to back here in Middle Tennessee right now. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan, you can see her there joining us. She has more from local security experts who are now weighing in. Now, Madeline, some folks are saying the Secret Service did not act fast enough Saturday. What is the perspective of the woman that you interviewed?
Well, we interviewed a woman who is a former veteran and has also years and years of security background. Now, she says that this whole incident should be taken as a learning experience for both the Secret Service as well as security companies alike. Now, Megan Zavodny, the CEO and founder of the Dahlia Group, the first female security company located here in Middle Tennessee, says that like a lot of people, what transpired on Saturday shocked her, calling it a huge security failure that cost the life of an attendee while also injuring others. Reflecting on this assassination attempt, Zavodny says that the first thing that should have been done before any rally or event took place was securing the roof of the building.
First thing that came to mind is, why was this high ground not secure? They're saying it was outside the perimeter. No, like the set perimeter that they made, right, but it was 130 yards away and it was a completely exposed and a vulnerable point, and this should not have been left open. It should not. We've actually should have had our own snipers up there.
Now, Zavodny says response times after the shots were fired were a part of this failure, allowing for Trump to stand up. Capturing the photo of his fist being held up is something that she says should have never been able to happen. Now, she also commented on the difference in protection levels for former presidents versus sitting presidents, pointing to the possibility of change in this current political environment. As for former President Donald Trump, he does still plan to be here in Tennessee, Nashville to be exact, at the Bitcoin conference taking place right here at the Music City Center. We'll keep you updated on if anything changes. But for now, live here in Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Yeah, a lot going on. Madeline, thank you so much for your update. We are in a Code Red weather alert if you're just now waking up with us. Another hot day on tap. Yesterday, Greg, you said it was the first 100-degree day of 2024. I think some more to come, though.
Possibly. I mean, we have temperatures that'll be upper 90s today and tomorrow, and we've been really close to it. We have 2 days that have already hit 99 degrees, but yesterday was the first one to have triple digits. The last time it happened was actually last August, 24th and 25th, when we had back-to-back days that did it. Now, we're all trying to beat the heat, including all three of our dogs of the day. We have Cherry, Spring, and Mocha, sent in by David and Juliet from Murfreesboro. This is one of those days just like yesterday and the one before. If you've had pets before, you've had dogs for more than one Nashville summer, you know, morning and evening. Get out there. That's the best time to do it. The afternoons are just tough when it comes to finding any pavement that we can actually navigate through that isn't trying to burn our paw pads and our feet for humans. Think about it. If you're out at the pool and your feet hurt because you're touching the ground, they kind of have the same thing going on. Take a look. 77 degrees at 7 o'clock, 80 at 8, and 84 degrees by 9 o'clock. If you can get out there before 9 a.m., you're going to both be comfortable. If not, well, everyone might have a little bit of a sweaty brow when you come back in. Taking a look here. Send us your dog of the day by going to my Facebook page, meteorologist Greg Bobus. That is the pin post at the top. That's where you're sending your photos to see them right here on Fox 17 News this morning. So I promised you two calendars to look at. One is, well, when we show you how many days have been at or above average. All the way through the 15th, we only had one day that has not hit or surpassed the average high temperature for that date. That was back on July 1st. Rain. We really need some rain. The 4th and the 5th, we barely even saw much that came down. So far this month, we've seen 0.32 inches of rain. That is more than an inch and a half below where we're supposed to be. We are in a drought. We'll focus more on that coming up next half hour.
Stay Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get you out to our first accident or disabled vehicle of the morning. This is going to be I-40 at I-24, making that drive in from the east side of town. You can see there the car pulled over to the shoulder of the road. Traffic can still get by. However, we will see some slowdown here once emergency crews arrive and start to deal with that car. They're going to force everybody to move over by at least one lane. This is the only thing we're dealing with right now. We have reports of other crashes, not seeing them on the cameras, not seeing the effects of them either. So not sure exactly if they were false calls or they've already moved out of the way. Here's 65 at Trinity Lane on the north side. This is not going to clear until well after 8 o'clock, moving towards 9. This is just congestion that's only going to get worse as the morning goes on. You can always use Ellington Parkway as a good way to steer clear.
Justin, thank you. Hey, if you're heading to the airport, please listen to this story and stay with us because loud explosions by the airport today are expected. We'll tell you why B&A is blasting and when to expect the Big Bang. Plus, a quick look at what's trending over on Fox17.com.
Of choice, with more hybrid choices than anyone else, like the stylish Corolla family, which includes the versatile, powerfully efficient Corolla Cross. This summer, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 24 gas-powered Corolla, or lease one for just $239 a month. With 2 years no-cost maintenance, the choice is yours. Toyota, let's go places.
Spend your sunny weekdays with Sherry.
Today at 10 on Fox 17.
Just about 6:25. And listen, if you're heading to the airport today, stop and listen to this story. We do not want you to get caught off guard. Happening today is the next phase of blasting over at Nashville's International Airport. Okay, it begins today. Airport crews telling Fox 17 News that yes, it's going to impact traffic over on Terminal Drive. That's the area. So officers are going to be busy stopping traffic at several locations right along Terminal Drive during this blasting operation, which is set to go ahead and start at 1 o'clock p.m. Okay? 1 o'clock. We're telling you. B&A, of course, wants everyone to pay attention. And if you don't need to necessarily drive in that area, maybe it's a good idea just to go ahead and take another route, at least for this afternoon. Right now, though, we want to check in on the delay board over at Nashville's International Airport. We did a quick check in about right now, 30 delays. We do want to check in on the temperature, though, 77 degrees and goodness. It's only 6:25 in the morning. That is why Fox 17 News, we are continuing our code red weather alert for the extreme heat across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. By the way, yesterday we hit 100 degrees for the first time this year in Nashville. The last time we hit 100 in Nashville was August 25th of 2023. Stay hydrated.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's take a quick look here at I-40 at I-24. This is going to be east of town. That's where we are dealing with a disabled vehicle there on the shoulder of the road. You can get by on the curve there. You make that drive in from East Nashville. This is right after the junction, right where 24 and 40 meet there as you make that drive in from the east side. Not causing a big deal yet, but it might as soon as the TDOT trucks get there, or Metro Police or whomever will be taking care of this. Let's take a look on the north side. This is going to be Vietnam Veterans Boulevard at Gallatin Road. That's Gallatin Road running right underneath there. As you make that drive into town, you can see a bit of a slowdown back behind it here. No good way to get past this really other than taking Gallatin itself, which is going to have its own set of challenges. Lots of traffic lights, gas stations, fast food, all that can slow you up there. So just keep in mind that this is going to be a bit of a slow creep there as you make that drive in from Hendersonville and Gallatin Station Camp, places like that. Here's a look at 65 on the north side of Trinity Lane. Not too bad on this particular pocket. We know that this time of the morning, the traffic can slow down, then speed up, slow down and speed up all the time there. So right now, this is a good pocket, but don't count on this being part of your drive by the time you get there.
We always like to talk about what's going up. And now for the Nashville Business Journal, some new updates this Monday morning. TikTok is making progress on their new Nashville office. This is expected to be a multi-million-dollar project. And earlier this year, the global social media giant, they signed a lease over on Music Row. That seems fitting for their new Nashville office. The company has now been issuing several key permits related to this ongoing project, which shows the fast progress on their new local office. We'll be sure to follow up. We have continuous coverage after the break on the attack of former President Donald Trump. What's happening in the ongoing investigation, plus live looks over in Milwaukee for the RNC convention.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting.
Now that you know the facts, don't settle for less. Get Hughes and Coleman and get it done. Call 800-800-4600.
Watch Fox 17 News. Alerts, empowers, protects.
About severe weather threats before they happen.
A spin-up tornado can't be ruled out.
Fox 17 News alerts, empowers, protects. You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Good morning, showing you a shot of the Nashville skyline. High temperatures climbing near 100 degrees. Just as rain chances begin to ramp up for Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to have your Code Red weather updates as we begin a new work week.
Steer clear traffic out there. This is going to be
Steer clear traffic update showing you a live look east of downtown. A disabled vehicle, the tractor, or I should say the truck getting in there right now to pull that vehicle over. We're going to have your steer clear traffic updates. But first, we do want to start this Monday morning by saying thank you for waking up with Fox 17 News on a Monday morning. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has this morning off. Well, you see right behind me here, the red lights are on. We're in a code red weather alert. Greg, I told you earlier this morning, my mom and I, we got up at 4 a.m. Okay, to get outside and go running. And it was still hot.
It was still tough. I mean, there really aren't many hours you can really beat the heat completely.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all you really can do is try to find that one little window of opportunity where it's not as bad.
I also feel like with the temperatures as hot as they are, even going to the pool still feels hot.
The pool can feel like a bathtub depending upon where you're going. Just downright honestly, that's kind of how it felt. You know, I was out there a couple days ago and it very much so was like that. And then to beat the heat the other ways, the sunscreen, the hydration, everything here is kind of working against us when it comes to the heat. Yesterday we hit 100 degrees. Back-to-back 100s, do we get it again today? Likely no, but the possibility to get at least close enough to it as 99 is going to be there for us. Rain chances will increase throughout the week. A little small chance today. A little bit bigger tomorrow, Wednesday into Thursday. That'll be our best chance to work into some across the board rain and even some thunderstorm activity. We have the arrow moved up, more dangerous heat for us here. Storms return by the middle of the week. A lot of things and a lot of moving parts when it comes to thunderstorm activity. Right now, nothing happening out there, 77 degrees, bright and sunny. We're going to track a couple of pop-ups for you later on today. Look ahead to the big transition from Wednesday into Thursday when our temperatures fall. We're going to piece all this together. There are a lot of days worth of rain here when it comes to small little windows of opportunity. We're going to find those for you in a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic out there. Let's take a quick look here at I-40 at I-24. This is a look here over on the east side of town. This is where there is a disabled car. It's going to get picked up right now by the tow truck that is on the scene. This could cause a small delay as you make that drive in from East Nashville. That is because the traffic is going to have to move over a little bit, or at least they're supposed to. You can see a lot of people not abiding by the move over law, and that applies to tow trucks as well. It's not just police. You're supposed to move over and give them a little extra room. That is not happening right now. So watch out for that tow truck driver as he gets out there and is trying to navigate. You see him there kind of peeking around, trying to make sure you can get around there in that area. We're also dealing with a bit of a slowdown near Clarksville as you make that drive down from Pleasant View. You can see that red there at the corner of the screen. We're going to get you a much better view of this and tell you about the ways to steer clear coming up in a few.
Right now at 6:34, Fox 17 News is working to get some more updates regarding another neo-Nazi demonstration in Nashville over the weekend. This demonstration, though, leading to 2 arrests of the men right behind me. Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey is joining us live on Lower Broadway. And Johnny, you've been there all morning long getting some updates. We understand it happened right around 3rd Avenue, correct?
Yeah, that's right, and that's where we're standing right now, Erica. Now, the hate group carrying Nazi flags, were walking on Broadway sometime Sunday, and they turned here down 3rd Ave, and that's when one of the bar employees, police are telling us, got into a fight with one of them. Now, we're unsure of which bar it is. Certainly a lot around here. You can see the crews cleaning up this Monday morning after the weekend, but what we know, again, from Metro officials getting these images here, 29-year-old Ryan Scott McCann of Ontario struck the bar employee with a Nazi flag in the face. McCann's on the left side of your screen here. he struck the man in the face and the ribs and is currently charged with felony aggravated assault and disorderly conduct, being held on an $81,000 bond. Now the employee, 19-year-old Diago Buck, was arrested for misdemeanor charges, including disorderly conduct and resisting police, and Buck has since been released on bond. That's what dispatchers are telling us this morning when we spoke with them. So again, getting these updates, trying to learn more, and this all does just come. About a week ago, another hate group marched through Nashville, and Mayor Freddie O'Connell taking to Twitter Sunday night saying, quote, "We should all work to both recognize the incredible power for the First Amendment while rejecting the most hateful and painful of its possibilities," end quote. So again, trying to follow this string of events that happened just the last 2 weeks. Hate groups, neo-Nazi groups carrying Nazi flags down here on Broadway and downtown Nashville. And Chief John Drake with Metro PD also coming out condemning the violence happening. Again, one person that started the fight out on bond right now, and the neo-Nazi that is currently being charged with felony assault is still in jail. Live this morning in Nashville, Johnny Maffey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Tonight on Fox 17 News at 9, we're telling the story of a mid-state grandmother who has some pretty tough questions for Tennessee's Department of Children's Services. Well, the grandmother says the state took 4 children out of her home and then put those children with strangers. Why the grandmother says her family has been left in the dark this entire time. That story tonight, don't miss it. It's on Fox 17 News at 9. Coming up, though, one local organization is calling for changes after they say they're not getting the money they deserve. A message now from the protesters. And looking ahead, there are billion-dollar venues. So again, we're just checking in on the progress there, showing you some areas that you just need to avoid if you can because of traffic and ongoing construction. In the economy right now, as development continues to boom in Nashville, just talked about Nissan Stadium. We have some more development, though. Some workers say they're not being treated fairly. Over the weekend, about a dozen or so workers right here, they protested outside a new residential development center over in Metro Center. Well, these protesters say the people behind a new apartment complex owe them for work they did from October through December of last year. Representatives from Workers Dignity say several companies are involved in the project and someone dropped the ball. This is the third protest at this site in recent months. If you want to catch up on what they had to say, head on over to fox17.com. Right now, though, we're going to check in with our Code Red meteorologist who says, well, it's hot outside.
That it is. We need some rain badly here. We're going to drop by about 2 inches below where we're supposed to be in the last 40 days. Taking a look. Maybe a shower or storm today. We need a couple things to happen here. First of all, we're going to get the heating of the day, and the humidity is already there. This high pressure that's over us just basically works as a shield from rain. Once it starts to move away, those ingredients that we've got can potentially be cooked up. Here's noon to 6 p.m. Not a whole lot on the radar. Most of us get nothing today. But even a little bit can go a long way to help out when you're in a drought like we are right now. Tomorrow morning, starting off dry, we'll do it again. Late morning into the afternoon, a few more isolated showers and weak thunderstorms. No severe weather. We're code red for the heat, not for thunderstorm activity. Wednesday into Thursday, we get active once again. Cold front begins to slide in late morning into the afternoon. That will tone down our temperatures considerably. So, curious question this morning. As you're waking up, getting moving, getting the brain going, our brains burn up to roughly how many calories? Just the brain doing its job every day per day. 1 to 200 calories, 2 to 300, 3 to 400, or 4 to 500 calories burned daily just by your brain. The answer coming your way in just a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic gets us out to I-40 at I-24, where they're still towing that car out of the way. They're along where the 40 and 24 junction meet over on the east side. The best way to steer clear of this, if you want to use Elm Hill Pike, Lebanon Pike, Murfreesboro Road, those are good ways to get around it if you would like to. It's not causing that big of a delay, just something to watch out for, especially for folks who don't feel like abiding by the move over law. They just want to ride in that lane right where the tow truck is doing the work. Okay, let's move on. Let's get you to a slowdown coming down from Clarksville this morning. It's happening in the Pleasant View area, right at exit 24 for Highway 49 right there. You can see where the slowdown is back behind it. You can take Clarksville Pike, runs right alongside I-24. That's going to be your best way to steer clear of that.
After the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, a security company here in Middle Tennessee is speaking out ahead of his big Music City arrival. All details coming up.
Right now on Fox 17 News, we have live continuous coverage this Monday morning. A founder and CEO of Tennessee Security Company is now sharing her perspective about what she says went wrong Saturday during the rally for former President Donald Trump. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan is joining us live from downtown. And Madeline, what is she saying about what happened Saturday in Pennsylvania?
Well, she told us that what happened on Saturday was a huge security failure, saying that whatever happens moving forward, something needs to change. Now, Megan Zavadny, the CEO and founder of the Dahlia Group, the first female and veteran-owned security group here in Middle Tennessee, says that the Secret Service and everyone else involved needed to act and didn't. Reflecting on this assassination attempt, Zavadny believes that given the political climate, the protection levels for former presidents versus sitting presidents needs to change, pointing to the lack of response time after those shots fired.
The fact that he stood up and was able to get that magnificent photo, like that was a beautiful photo, and but as beautiful as that was, and as charged as that was, and memorable as it was, it should have never happened. He was completely, fully exposed. At that moment, they didn't even know if there was another shooter. And when you see his face clear as day, but you have the agents around him, but his face clear as day, there's nothing that would have stopped another shooter from taking him out.
Now, Zavadny also believes that the roof of the building where the shooter was found was not secure, something that she says that should have been the first thing to happen before any event or rally took place. Now, former President Donald Trump is still expected to be here in Nashville for the Bitcoin conference taking place next week, right here at the Music City Center. We'll keep you updated on it if anything changes. But for now, live here in Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Madeline, thank you. We are in a code red weather alert, and it is no surprise that extreme heat takes a toll on our bodies, but it may also have a significant impact on our mind. Did you know heat is the #1 weather-related killer in the U.S.? In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the impact extreme heat can have on our mental health and a good reminder of just staying aware.
When it comes to extreme heat, our bodies are sensitive, and so are our minds.
Studies have shown that excessive heat triggers stress, anxiety, frustration, and cognitive difficulties.
One study linked days of extreme heat with higher rates of mental health-related emergency department visits. While extreme heat doesn't cause mental health issues, it can make ones that exist even worse, says psychologist Susan Albers with Cleveland Clinic.
When we are trying to cool down, it creates a lot of stress on the body, and this releases cortisol, the stress hormone, which triggers the fight or flight response. And this is why we may feel a little bit more agitated during heat waves.
Albers says the heat can impact our ability to get quality sleep, which is strongly tied to mental health. To help your mood in the heat, get things like errands done in the morning or evening to avoid the hottest hours of the day. Wear light clothing to help keep you cool. And if you get hot, she says a cool shower or cold washcloth on the forehead or back of neck can help. And always stay hydrated.
This is the time to pull out the popsicles, hydrating foods such as watermelons, cantaloupes, anything that is going to help you to mitigate some of the features of dehydration, which really drag down our mental health.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you so much. Greg, I like what she said there. I'm all about the popsicles.
Oh, for sure.
And the snowballs.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything that has an ice component to it that can keep you cool. That's basically the name of the game right now. We got, Erica, 2 more days left of this going on before we get a little better.
Yeah, and she talked about how the heat impacts your mental health, and that really ties into your question of the day.
It does, yeah. So mentally, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, my curious question has to do with what your brain does and how much energy it uses. So, curious question is, in a given day, our brains burn up to roughly how many calories? 1 to 200, 2 to 300, 3 to 400, or 4 to 500 calories just from doing everyday thinking and it just powering your body. What do you think?
My child has me thinking a lot. I'm going with D, between my child and my job.
Between your child and your job, that brain is going nonstop,
yes.
And you were right. 4 to 500 calories per day your brain is burning, just keeping you going, just keeping you moving, keeping it going here with this, with the heat that we've got. Yesterday we hit 100 for the first time this calendar year. We did it back in August of last year, back-to-back days. I don't believe we go back-to-back this time, though. Upper 90s for sure, but this cloud cover and the chance for a pop-up that we showed you not too long ago, that's there for the afternoon, noon through 6 p.m. Any of that activity does come to fruition. It's not going to help us get to that 100-degree mark. Definitely, though, still hot. 99 degrees today, 98 degrees tomorrow. Let's talk humidity briefly. Add the humidity in, we're going to feel like we're upwards of 100 degrees. Heat index values could be as high as 105 right in the middle of the day. Getting to the end of the week, though, 86 degrees on Thursday, 87 on Friday. So there is a little bit of a break in the heat to end the week, and even nighttime temperatures will dip back into the 60s. But we've got to get through 48 hours worth of continued laboring heat.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
At least 8 viewers sent in photos of this towering cumulus cloud off the coast of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina last week. The long shadow is an indication of the cloud's height, as well as the sun just rising over the horizon. Days later, a much different scene off the Carolina coast as a waterspout appeared. There are 2 types of waterspouts, tornadic and fair weather.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
Steer clear traffic. Let's get a look at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard as you make that drive in from the Gallatin area, Gallatin, Hendersonville, places like that. This is part of your drive. Things are starting to bunch up there as you make that drive in, so please keep that in mind. It's not going to be speed limit driving all the way in to I-65. There's going to be a slowdown here the closer and closer you get to Conference Drive in that area. You can try to take Gallatin Road right below it. That's going to be your best bet to steer clear. We're still following that crash coming down from Clarksville. This is that drive coming in to Nashville. You can see it right there, slowing things up right around the exit 24, which is going to be the Highway 49 exit there. The best way to steer clear is by using Clarksville Highway. Runs right alongside I-24. That will help you steer clear of any backup.
Justin, thank you. Talking about driving, the White House is handing out $1.7 billion to juice electric vehicles, EVs, here in America. Now, this funding, which comes from the landmark Inflation Reduction Act, is going to help convert closed down or at-risk auto manufacturing and assembly plants that make electric and hybrid vehicles. The awardees include major automakers like GM and Volvo and a lot of suppliers like American Auto Parts. The Biden administration says that these projects will create about 2,900 new jobs and also save 15,000 jobs that may have been eliminated. We're going to take a live look over on Lower Broadway. Always busy. Now we're going to Texas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said he will hold a CenterPoint Energy company, the company responsible, I should say, for the continued outages following Hurricane Beryl. Now, there are folks over in Texas who still today do not have power. It's been nearly a week since the storm made landfall against the Gulf Coast. There are still over 400,000. Yeah, 400,000 homes and businesses in Texas without power. Most of those involve CenterPoint customers in the Houston area. Governor Greg Abbott is now ordering an investigation into this utility company. He also says he's demanding solutions from state lawmakers. Listen.
But, and here's the important part, we are still in hurricane season right now, and solutions cannot wait until the next session. They are needed now to minimize power disruptions as we respond to tropical weather for the remainder of the summer and this fall.
Now, we do understand that Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has been handling the response while the governor was out of the country for a pre-planned trip throughout Asia. But like I said, Greg, as we get back here to Middle Tennessee and talk about our alerts, over in Texas, folks are still dealing with that power outages and that heat index is not going down.
No, it's definitely not. We think we have a bad back here, but you get down more toward the south and then even out toward the desert southwest, things are even hotter than they are back home. We did hit 100 yesterday. We're going to not be as hot going in toward the upcoming weekend. We'll still be near 90 with a few scattered storms on Saturday and Sunday, but decent nighttime temperatures. No aggressive heat. Today and tomorrow are still going to be hot, but storm chances begin to increase as temperatures go down throughout the course of this week. Look at your screen right there. You can get the Fox 17 Code Red weather app. You can scan the QR code right there, or you can just type in Code Red at the App Store or Google Play Store. You can do multiple things once you get this. You have obviously the radar with you wherever you go, our 7-day forecast and hour-by-hour breakdowns. You can also set specific alerts for different types of weather. things that could happen. Whether that be severe weather, flooding, it's all kind of curated to whatever works best for you, and then you get those alerts only to the county that you live in. Coming up in the 7 o'clock half hour, we'll become your only live and local news source. I'll get updates to future track at any possible shower and storm activity later today. We'll work you through that right out of the gate here as soon as we go into our 7 o'clock half hour.
Greg, thank you so much. We do want to do a quick check of your steer clear traffic update and save you some time if you're heading north of downtown. I-65 over at Trinity Lane, this is what you're going to see, a little bit of a brake check there. You're not seeing on your screen any kind of vehicles that are on the shoulders or crashes, but you are going to see a brake check as you head in this Monday morning. That's not out of the ordinary, but we'll continue checking all of your steer clear traffic updates throughout 9 o'clock. Game, set, and match. We're talking tennis. Carlos Alcaraz defending his Wimbledon title against Novak. This was yesterday. Maybe you watched. Here's the 21-year-old receiving the Wimbledon trophy from Catherine, the Princess of Wales, in a rare public appearance for her. She also announced her cancer diagnosis, and since then has not been out too much. The victory marks Alcaraz's 4th Grand Slam title. It also denies Novak of his chance at a 25th title. Yeah, he's done this before. Alcaraz won his first Grand Slam title at the 2022 U.S. Open as a teenager. Congrats to him. Well, in case it's not already hot enough for you, Burger King wants to put some heat in your mouth. All right, Burger King announcing that they're coming out with a fiery menu that's going to be hitting the menu as of July 18th. Later this week. Start with a fiery Bacon Whopper or a fiery Royal Crispy Chicken Sandwich. The fiery menu, though, is only for a limited time, so enjoy while you can. And everyone loves a good stroll around the neighborhood, right? Including this pet llama, who created some drama over in Maine. The owner of a homestead went ahead and opened the door to their field to do some work, and that's when Jeffrey the llama escaped. By the time animal control could get in there, it was too late. Jeffrey actually went into town, but then quickly got back home, returning to the homestead. So that's a pretty good llama. If you want to read more about our latest headlines, head on over to fox17.com. Right now, though, we're going to get started with our 7 o'clock hour. Latest headlines, weather, and traffic updates right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Now on Fox 17 News this Monday morning, 2 days after the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump, we are now hearing from our mayor this Monday.
Plus, we have new results from the Beacon Center of a poll they conducted, including who Tennessee voters want former President Trump's running mate to be. And we'll also be analyzing and asking how that assassination attempt over the weekend impacts everything.
Plus, neo-Nazis marching through the streets of Nashville this weekend, and now 2 men are facing charges this morning. We're going to tell you about exactly what they were arrested for. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning, just after 7 o'clock on this Monday. I'm Justin McFarland.
And I'm Erica Glover. Fox 17 News, your only local news source from 7 to 9. We're going to get started with our Code Red weather forecast because if you're not aware, it's hot outside.
It is.
Just important to remind folks to stay hydrated because the heat is not slowing down.
Yeah, we're about halfway done. We had the 2 days over the weekend that were tough. Yesterday hit 100, and now we have 2 more days in the upper 90s. A lot of moving parts in our 7-day forecast. Get us away from the heat and bring us back into some much needed rain. So what is new for you this morning? Maybe you kind of tuned out the weather. You just knew, it's hot. I'll just check in later next week. Well, here we go. Heat index values today, 100 to 105 degrees. Thunderstorms return for many of us by Wednesday. A few of us had the chance for a storm or two today or tomorrow, right in the middle of the day. We're talking noon to 6 p.m. both days. Most of us will stay dry, but a few will be out there. Much cooler by the end of the week. Now, much cooler is going to be relative term when we take a look at the temperatures we have now compared to the end of the week. We're starting off almost at 80 degrees already, folks. It is 7:01. That's where we're at. 74 in Murfreesboro. The humidity is very much so abrasive like it was over the weekend. That's why those heat index values will go up as high as they're going to. For the first time in a while, I'm saying grab an umbrella before you head out. Will you need it? Like we know. Do you want it just in case? Yes, absolutely yes, because again, that afternoon, especially if you're out and about, could catch you off guard with a tiny little pop-up shower or weak thunderstorm. Starting off your day here with temperatures that are going to hover into the 80s very quickly in the next hour. We'll be at 80 degrees by 8 o'clock, 84 at 9, 89 degrees by 10 o'clock with a high of 99 later this afternoon. The next check of your code red forecast involves breaking down the chances for rain today, tomorrow, and into your upcoming Wednesday, hour by hour.
Steer clear traffic this morning. Let's get you out to the north side. This is going to be I-65 at Trinity Lane there. We've been watching this spot very carefully throughout the morning because this is a known spot for slowdown when it comes to traffic. We are seeing typical congestion up there so far this morning. Nothing out of the ordinary, but if you don't like what you see here rather, you can always use Ellington Parkway. All right, let's get you to the crash that we're following out of the Clarksville area. This is going to be I-24 right at exit 24 coming down from Clarksville into Montgomery County. Right now, that drive time around 61 minutes. You can see that red line there on your screen. You can use Clarksville Pike as the best way to steer clear.
Well, 7:03 is the time and new this Monday morning. Right now, Fox 17 News is diving through the latest results of the Beacon Center for Tennessee's latest poll, showing where volunteer state voters land on national and also local issues.
Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey live for us this morning after going through some of those numbers. And Johnny, what exactly stands out to you?
Well, good morning, Justin and Erica. So with the RNC beginning this week, well, a few of Donald Trump's former presidential primary opponents are at the top of the list, according to the Beacon Center. That's the poll that was just released this morning. When it comes to their choice for VP, and so those two of the candidates leading the list are set to speak this week in Milwaukee, that being, of course, Nikki Haley. Now, again, according to this poll, she leads Tennessee Trump voters' choice for VP with 13%, and Vivek Ramaswamy and Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders are tied for second at 9%. Now, locally, the Beacon shows Senator Marsha Blackburn has a 20-point lead over potential Democrat opponents in her re-election bid. Now, how about the issues? Well, inflation is a, quote, big problem for 80% of the 1,200 registered voters polled, and 57% responding it's a, quote, very big problem. Now, as for that race for the White House, well, former President Trump does lead President Biden by 30% in Tennessee, according to the Beacon Center. And this poll was conducted before the assassination attempt over the weekend. So coming up at 7:30, we will be talking about sort of analyzing that, diving into that, and asking those pollsters how everything is impacted after the events happening on Saturday. Live this morning in Nashville, Johnny Maffey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
7:05 is the time, and shockwaves from the attempted assassination of the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. And those shockwaves are still showing themselves this morning in the political world and around the world as we're hearing from world leaders.
Yeah, we are continuing to get some more details. And, you know, the former president survived the attack, but one person, one father, one husband was killed. And as this investigation continues, authorities are now still trying to determine the shooter's motive. The former president and current president both sounding off, but Biden on Sunday from the Oval Office emphasizing the importance of toning down the rhetoric in America's ultra-polarized national political discourse.
In the meantime, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell took to social media last night. This is after President Biden's Oval Office address, and he tied the assassination attempt of former President Trump with the recent hate group gatherings that have happened right here in Nashville. During the president's Oval Office address, he emphasized, as Erica just mentioned, toning down some of the rhetoric out there along the political discourse here in the country, which of course will be front and center as the RNC gets started in Milwaukee this week.
And Nashville's mayor writing on social media, and I'm quoting here, "Sadly, political violence is common throughout American history, as is hate speech. Fortunately, violent and fatal assaults on public leadership are rare, and that should remain our goal as part of American exceptionalism."
The mayor went on to say, right now, as we see people putting effort into demonstrating hateful ideology publicly, including in Nashville. We should work with both to recognize the incredible power of the First Amendment while rejecting the most hateful and painful of its possibilities.
And we do know the mayor's statements come after 2 reports of neo-Nazi protest groups marching through Lower Broadway in Nashville over the past 2 weekends.
Now, Metro Police did arrest at least 1 member of those neo-Nazi groups in downtown, and they say that the protester got into a fight with an employee of a local bar.
Take a closer look here. Metro Police say the man right here on your screen, Ryan Scott McCann, hit the bar employee with a Nazi flag in the face and the ribs. He is now facing assault charges. The employee, Diego Buck, was arrested for disorderly conduct and resisting police and has also been released on bond.
Now, this all comes about a week after another hate group marched through the streets of Nashville. Of course, there was lots of reaction to that on social media and beyond. Fox 17 News will continue to follow this story as it develops. A special court in Montgomery County is trying to help military veterans who may be facing I should say, criminal charges there. We're going to tell you why some experts say that the crimes that they commit. 7:10 is the time right now in Montgomery County. There is more than 80 current and former soldiers participating in the Montgomery County treatment program that is especially designed for military veterans. Now, the director of that program says the goal is to try to help veterans who are in the criminal justice system. He also says that the program a lot of times is helping veterans not just be punished, but also get the help that they need. They say a lot of the crimes they commit are actually cries out for help.
In the desire to save their career, a lot of them underreport. And that's why that number constantly changes with us. By the time the program ends, most of them have some type of diagnosis, and they can continue to serve and get the treatment that they need. We're just trying to help them understand that attending therapy is not a bad thing, but pride often gets in the way of several of these veterans.
Now, the program began back in 2012. So far, 500 veterans have received help with their cases.
Coming up next in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast, we are in a Code Red weather alert. The heat is on. We're halfway done. We'll find out when the showers take back over and the heat takes the back seat.
I-40 at I-24 at the junction just east of downtown. We are dealing with good, moderate traffic here this morning. Nothing heavy so far. We'll continue to watch things around town.
Operation Southern Slowdown kicks off today. What is this statewide crackdown on speeding? Coming up.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting,
Our deals.
Welcome back. 7:14 is the time. Today kicks off a multi-state crackdown when it comes to speeding.
Yes, it does. The purpose of this 8th annual traffic safety campaign is to increase enforcement out there on the major highways.
Good reminder to slow down.
It can be.
Yeah, Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan joining us live this morning, joined with a Highway Patrol Lieutenant. Good morning, Madeline.
Good morning, and that's right. This 5-day campaign to stop speeding here in the state of Tennessee kicks off today. I'm actually joined with Lieutenant Bill Miller. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Tell me a little bit about what this operation is.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. What this operation is about is getting everyone's attention about the dangers of speeding. Speeding, whether you're just going a little over the speed limit or going excessively over the speed limit, is extremely dangerous, not only to you, but everyone in your vehicle and all those around you. Drivers do not prepare for the unexpected these days. That's just up ahead of them, and the faster you're going, the faster you're speeding, the less time you have time to react to those situations. We're seeing increased traffic crashes, increased fatalities, so we're addressing that with a very strict, very heavy enforcement campaign across the state of Tennessee, which we're partnering with our southern partners in Georgia to, as most traffic this time of year tends to go south towards the beaches. If you're going south, if you're coming through Tennessee, you're entering into Georgia, you better slow down because troopers are looking for you.
And I know you said that enforcement will be increased. How much will this enforcement be increased this week?
Everyone has heard the myth about troopers or law enforcement has a speed threshold. If 9, you're fine, 10, you're fine. That's incorrect. If you're speeding, going over the speed limit in the state of Tennessee, be prepared to be stopped. Look in your rearview mirror, look ahead. There will be a trooper somewhere looking for you. Our troopers are going to have a very strict approach to how they enforce this campaign. So all across Tennessee, from Memphis to East Tennessee, far East Tennessee, around in Johnson City to Knoxville to Chattanooga, Nashville, doesn't matter where you are, troopers are going to be looking for you if you're speeding. Speed kills, and it's as simple as we can put it. Drivers need to slow down, take their time. You really do not get anywhere any faster when you're speeding, so slow down.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Miller. We'll have more coming up in the next hour on this operation. But for now, live here in Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
And here we are, 7:16. Our weather story is giving us 3 bullet points here that change the week progressively day by day. Yesterday we hit 100 degrees. Today we'll be at 99. Close to the 100-degree mark. I don't believe we get there because some cloud cover does creep in. And we also have temperatures that are going to be in the upper 90s regardless, though. So we're still hot, just not triple-digit heat. Rain chances are increasing. Small chance today and tomorrow. Much better chance on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday is the big turning point for the entire forecast. That's when we go from all the heat and humidity and the very uncomfortable nature in which we've been having to deal with to cooler temperatures in the 80s for highs by the end of the week. Big drop. So that's kind of the broad strokes of what is new for us here this morning. 100 to 105 degree heat index values. That's just shy of heat advisory criteria for Middle Tennessee, which is anything above 105 to 110. So we're kind of flirting right in that area. Thunderstorms return Wednesday for everyone, much cooler by the end of the week. But we're still in code red. The only reason the lights are turned on is because of the temperature scenario that we're working into. Even when we get storms. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday, those will not be code red storms. Current temperatures are already close to 80 degrees in Nashville at 79. We're at 70 in Lebanon. Even the Cumberland Plateau, lower 70s right now. We're talking humidity. We're looking at future track. We're meeting our dog of the day, and that's all going to happen before we even get our way into the 7:30 half hour. Just find these 2 days right here on the 7-day forecast as the pivot points. Wednesday and then into Thursday and Friday. We'll go from the upper 90s today and tomorrow to the middle to upper 80s by the end of this week.
Steer clear traffic. Let's get you out here to the very latest happening on I-24. This is close to Thompson Lane and Briley Parkway in South Nashville. Multi-car crash here on the shoulder of the road. TDOT is there along with Metro Police. You can see that one car all the way over against the wall there. So this is going to take a little bit to clean up, and it could cause you some slowdowns coming in from Murfreesboro and any place really coming in from along that route, including Smyrna, Laverne, places like that. Here's a look at your drive times right now. Clarksville coming in at 58 minutes. There was an earlier crash in Pleasant View that is cleared. Murfreesboro now just over an hour, 37 minutes in from Mount Juliet.
In crisis in the classroom, an Antioch woman telling Fox 17 News that she is living through a nightmare after she says students put their hands on her sister several times.
The family claims they've been trying to get the district to help, but they're not happy with the response they've gotten so far. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chen spoke with that family, has this report right now.
Good morning. Well, yes, this student was only 13 years old, and the family tells me all they want to do is protect their little girl. But the sister says what happened at school has caused lifelong damage to her emotional and social well-being. This young teen had just moved from Venezuela in search of a better life. But her family says it was a nightmare of a school year at Antioch Middle School. The sister says there have been 4 separate incidents at school. 3 of them physical and 1 where she was sent to the hospital. The family says they attempted to fix things through email and in-person meetings, but they don't feel like the school took any of their concerns seriously.
My mom called me screaming. She told me that Alanis couldn't even move any part of her body. She felt her little girl was dying.
Now, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, I'll have more details about these 4 incidents where you'll see more emotion from the sister, plus the response from Metro Nashville schools. But for now, reporting live in the studio, I'm Amanda Chen, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Amanda, thank you so much. Right now, Fox 17 News taking a live look over in Milwaukee. Former President Donald Trump is in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention.
Is it menopause or something else?
The menopause journey has stages. Learn about yours with Clear Blue Menopause Stage Indicator that tracks your FSH hormone levels, combining them with your cycle data. What's your menopause stage?
We're done.
What about these?
Looks right.
Are investigating the deadly shooting of a woman Sunday morning at the trailhead that is just off of the Alta Lake Greenway. It's off Dodson Chapel Road over in Hermitage, and we are mapping it out for better perspective. Police say the victim is a black woman in her 20s with long braids. They're now asking anyone who might have more information that could help with this investigation to call police.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a very sad story to tell you about out of Hendersonville. There is now a mother that is being charged in connection with the drowning death of her child. This is Brandy Elliott. She is charged now with first-degree murder. This is after police say her child drowned in the Drakes Creek area, very close to Sanders Ferry Road. All investigators would say is that Elliott is responsible for her child's death. Right now, she's being held in the Sumner County Jail.
And also new this Monday morning, an 18-year-old was saved from a house fire Sunday in Clarksville by firefighters. Thank goodness. Yeah, the firefighters were able to pull an unconscious 18-year-old from the burning building over on Creekside Drive.
First responders performed CPR and they were able to restore his pulse. Firefighters say he was the only one home when this fire happened. The Clarksville Fire Department says a firefighter was hurt while trying to deal with this blaze. Both of them were taken to the hospital.
Just after
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Now on Fox 17 News this Monday morning, how do Tennessee voters feel about former President Donald Trump or current President Biden? These questions and more answered in this morning's poll released, breaking down the findings and all of those results.
The sun is up and the heat is already picking up as well. We hit 100 degrees yesterday. We'll talk about the odds of potentially making it back-to-back and time some storms in your Code Red forecast.
And steer clear traffic, we're dealing with a crash at I-24 Thompson Lane. This is over on the south side of town. We've got a bit of a backup because of this crash. We're going to tell you how you can steer clear.
Oof, all right. Thanks so much for waking up with Fox 17 News on a busy Monday morning. I'm Erica Glover.
And I am Justin McFarland. Jennifer Waddell has his day off. The Fox 17 News, still your only live and local news source with you from 7 until 9. Everybody else, national pre-recorded news. It's not even live, but we are, and we're delivering headlines for you.
We sure are. We do want to make sure you are weather aware because the heat is ramping back up. Fox 17 News and a Code Red weather alert.
That we are. We're halfway through this heat wave and we hit 100 for the first time, like I just mentioned moments ago. Yesterday, for the first time this year, first time since August of last year, which was also the last time that we had 100 back-to-back days. My forecast for today is 99. Look at this month. We're only through the first 14 days here, but 13 of the last 14 days, so almost the entire month, is at a day with an average or above average high temperature. Most of those have been in the 90s. We've hit 99 twice this year. We've hit 100 once. Today's going to be right in that ballpark to get to one or the other. Dangerous heat continues. What makes it dangerous is the fact we're adding in the humidity as well. You put those two things together, you get the heat index, the feels like temperature, where it makes it hard for your body to cool itself down. 100 to 105 is how we're going to feel this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. We're already at 79 degrees in Nashville. That number is going to say at least 8 at the beginning of it, if not 80 to 82 degrees within the next hour. The sun will sneak away behind a few clouds for the afternoon, and that could give us a pop-up shower or storm. We'll look at it on Future Track. 74 degrees in Murfreesboro, 75 in Lebanon. All these numbers have gone up a good 4 or 5 degrees in the outlying areas around Nashville since the sun came up 2 hours ago. What are we wearing? Whatever you've been doing to try to beat the heat. Whatever's in the closet that makes it comfortable enough for you. This time, though, don't forget the umbrella. For the first time in a while, I'll track a few possible showers and storms today and look ahead to the best chance for showers and storms coming up in your full Code Red forecast.
Steer clear traffic gets us out to I-24. This is close to Thompson Lane. In the South Nashville area, we are dealing with the crash. This is very close to Broadley Parkway there on that drive into town. It is causing slowdowns here because of that crash over there on the shoulder. They're waiting on tow trucks to come remove the damaged cars out of the way there. Until then, at least one lane is going to be shut down. That's causing some backups back behind it here. Let's take a quick look at the impact. This is going to be I-24 there. Again, very close to Broadley Parkway. This is going to be about a mile away from where that crash is. You can see those outside lanes especially that are slowed down because everyone's having to move over just a little bit. But you've also got a disabled tractor trailer on the outbound side, but that is not causing big of a deal at all. You can use Murfreesboro Road as the best way to steer clear until they get that crash out of the way.
But right now, we want to talk about the new polling numbers showing Tennessee voters want Nikki Haley for vice president. Now, this is according to the Beacon Center, which is a nonprofit policy research group set up right here in Nashville.
Fox 17 News' Johnny Matthews live there at their offices with more on the results of their latest poll. Johnny, what can you share with us?
Well, you guys just mentioned the VP numbers right there. Again, according to Tennessee Trump voters, their choice being Nikki Haley, with Vivek Ramaswamy, former opponent, of course, of Trump in the primary, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor from Arkansas, in second there. But as for the Trump versus Biden presidential run, well, those polling numbers show Trump with a 30-point lead, again, according to the Beacon Center here in Tennessee. And with much more on this, Mark Cunningham with the Beacon Center has been filling us in. Mark, thanks for coming on Fox 17. Thanks for having us this morning. What can you share about that stat I just told you?
Yeah, well, the numbers are really, really interesting because Trump has actually expanded his lead by 10 points from our last poll. And a lot of that support came from RFK Jr. So there was, probably some moderate conservatives kind of on the fence, didn't like Trump personally, but they've gone over to him, and partially because of this guilty verdict in the trial in New York City, which is really interesting. But what you see is there's a lot of events, including the debate that happened, and Trump has really pulled ahead of the traditional Republican vote. You have about 21-point advantage for Republicans. Trump actually leads by 30, while Marsha Blackburn, the sitting senator, only leads by 20. So it really is interesting, and people are either really, really sour on Joe Biden or really high on Donald Trump, and it's probably some combination of the two.
Definitely, and we, of course, have to acknowledge this poll conducted before the assassination attempt over the weekend. Luckily, assassination attempts don't happen too often, but what can you share with us about how things might be impacted? These numbers today even could be impacted.
Yeah, I mean, first, obviously, you want to give our hearts go out to the families that were affected, to President Trump and his family. Ultimately, from a political perspective, we're kind of in rare, uncharted territory. When Ronald Reagan was president, now it's a little bit different because he was president, his approval rating went up about 22 points. So I do expect Trump's approval rating will probably go up a lot higher than his vote total. I expect he'll probably be over 50% threshold, which he's kind of been around the mid-30s, high 30s for a lot of his presidency. What is going to happen probably in terms of the actual head-to-head is he will probably get an initial bump, maybe up to 5-7 points, but probably only 1 to 2% of that will actually stay with him. And those, again, are going to be probably moderate Republicans who don't really care for him, but, this was enough, this and the perceived political persecution on the trial, for them to actually vote for him. So I do expect it helps him on Election Day, but probably not as much as the initial polls will suggest, 5-7 point bump on that.
Yep, and of course you mentioned the things where Senator Blackburn stands in her race as well. Mark, thank you. We'll be having much more at 8, including those local issues, and we might be talking baseball as well, again, at 8 o'clock right here on Fox 17. Guys, we'll send it back to the studio.
All right, talking a little baseball perhaps. Coming up, Clarksville police need your help searching for these two men right here. We're going to tell you what we know about these two home invasion suspects.
And right now we're going to show you another live look on Fox 17 News over in Milwaukee. This is where the Republican National Convention is kicking off today. Now, you heard Johnny Matthew talking about.
We've been talking heat here. Welcome back. Time right now is closing in on 7:40. Let's talk humidity combined with the heat and what that's going to do to us later on today. Humidity has not let up overnight into this morning. We're going to have dew points this afternoon in the 70s with actual air temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. It feels like going to be between 100 and 105 degrees, and we're going to be very similar to that tomorrow as well. It's going to take a big weather maker to knock down the humidity and get rid of our 90-degree temperatures. That's going to happen Wednesday into Thursday. Cold front moves in. Today and tomorrow, even on Wednesday, before that cold front gets here, the humidity stays almost exactly where it's at, if not gets a little bit worse first. Temperatures, upper 90s the next couple of days, 80s by the end of the week. But maybe you're thinking, okay, you know what, pool, let's do it. Let's go beat the heat, try to find a way to do it. Burn time, 15 to 20 minutes. If you're not using sunscreen, that's how quickly you're going to burn today. And that, with the dehydration that a sunburn can cause, not a good combination. Make sure we're staying hydrated, using all the extra sunscreen more than once. 89 degrees at 10 o'clock, 97 degrees at 2, and 96 degrees at 5. Here's the catch. Between noon and 6, a few tiny little pop-up showers and weak storms can't be ruled out, mainly south of I-40 and east of I-65, our southeastern corridor of areas when it comes to those counties there. Now, it's not a guarantee, but a few of us could end up with a shower or two that would help cut into a little bit of that heat. Pollen has been very stagnant for us here. This time of the year, we always get a lull between the spring and then late summer seasons. But if you feel anything here when it comes to any allergies or any sniffles, Tuesday into Wednesday are most likely times. Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to track on Future Track that incoming cold front for Wednesday and then that eventual shift to some cooler air for the end of the week.
Steer clear traffic. Let's take you live this morning to I-24. This is at Thompson Lane. As you make that drive into town there from the south side of town, from I-24 right at the beginning of Antioch there, there is a crash on the shoulder of the road. They're waiting on tow trucks now to come pull it out of the way, but it is causing a bit of a backup behind it right now. So if you know you're part of that drive coming in from Smyrna, Laverne, through Antioch, there on I-24 past places like Harding and Haywood, that is going to impact you. This is a quick look at the drive back behind it here, 24 Briley Parkway. Looks like things are getting a little bit better, actually, even though the accident hasn't moved. People perhaps are taking my suggestion for the detour on Murfreesboro Pike, because that's going to be the best way to steer clear.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a scary story out of Clarksville. Take a look at this. This is where police say they are searching for 2 home invasion suspects. Police say this all happened on Haywood, or I should say Linwood Circle, back on June 29th. Clarksville police say that the armed intruders right here on your screen tied a woman up and took her belongings. We now know at least one of the people who entered the home had a gun. They're asking anyone who sees these photos and might recognize the men on your screen to immediately call Crime Stoppers.
It's the biggest.
7:45 our time. Let's take a look at the rain aspect of the forecast the next 7 days and why we need every little drop we can get. Here's a look at the calendar of days where we've seen rain so far this month. There have been 3 of them. And when we got the rain, boy, did we not get much. Rainfall total for us so far just this month, about 0.3 of an inch. That's more than 1.5 inches below where we're supposed to be in just 2 weeks. This puts us about 2.5 inches below since the beginning of June. We are getting into a drought, and we're getting there quickly. This map had almost nothing on it 2 weeks ago. Now, everywhere south of I-40, especially the orange shaded areas, have seen less than 20% of their rainfall they need to have in the last 30 days. Even Nashville is starting to move its way into a drought here where things are dry. We've got crunchy lawns. We're trying to keep up with gardens, the whole 9 yards here, and we're continuing to see the orange and yellow spread more to the north. What does this map mean? Just to make it easy, it's 7:45 in the morning. If you're not seeing 100% where you live, you're underneath where you're at. If you're seeing 100 or above, you're in a good position right now. Most of Middle Tennessee, the lower the number goes, the more rain we need to catch up. That's how it looks for us right now. So when I talk about a few pop-up showers and weak storms today, they might be inconvenient, but we need it. Taking a look, noon to 6 p.m. Not impressive, not rain for everyone, but a few pop-up showers and weak storms will be out there for us. Those turn off at sunset, and then we'll repeat the process tomorrow. Hot both days, upper 90s. Morning starts dry, 11 a.m. through 6 p.m. A few pop-up showers and storms. The best chance for rain across the board, where all of us can try to work into some, is when this cold front gets here Wednesday afternoon through the evening and the first half of your Thursday. What that's also going to do is drop the humidity down, and it will also take our temperatures back to a more reasonable place. We'll go from 99 degrees today, 98 tomorrow, 94 on Wednesday, and then 80s for high temperatures. It's still warm, but when you think we had 100 yesterday, being 14 degrees cooler, that is a pretty significant cool down from what we've been used to.
Should feel a lot better. All right, thank you, Greg. 7:47 is the time. This is a look at I-24 at Thompson Lane on the south side. Tow truck is now pulled up in place to try to take care of a couple of cars that were involved in a crash earlier this morning. It is going to cause a bit of a backup back behind it. Let me show that to you. This is 24 Briley here in the Antioch area. This is going to be in and around Haywood Lane, Harding Place. If you're familiar with that part of Antioch, that's where this crash is. You can try to take Murfreesboro Road as a good way to steer clear, or just give yourself an extra 10 minutes. That's all you should need to get past this.
And Fox 17 News investigates. A human trafficking survivor kidnapped at 15 and sold to dozens of men shares her story.
She now lives in Clarksville, and as Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier shows us, her nightmare is something that a group of former soldiers are trying to protect other women and children from experiencing, and a warning, this story can be a little graphic.
It really is. How do you talk about this without it being graphic? A Clarksville woman kidnapped at 15 years old, trafficked to dozens of men, and a Nashville group of former soldiers fighting trafficking worldwide. This is a big problem that people still can barely talk about.
Samantha Cabrera was just 15 years old. Problems at home in Murfreesboro led her to living with an aunt in New York. She met someone on the internet, they met in person. The next day, she was in hell, in a basement, in the dark, naked with a bucket, forced to have sex with countless men.
And every time these men would come do what they do, they would tell me, like, here, wash off. You know, like, if you got to use the bathroom, just use it right there. Like, I was naked using the bathroom, like, 2 feet away from me, you know? It was just all horrible.
That was 13 years ago. Samantha still struggles with that nightmare that lasted a month.
You know, it's changed a lot in my life, the way I shower and everything, you know? I never feel clean, so I've always taken showers after showers after showers.
Here in Nashville, Aerial Recovery is now working in 8 countries in Latin America to break up human trafficking rings. Jeremy Locke will tell you it's the most difficult and important work he has ever done, and that's saying something.
I tell you what, 20 years in the Army, 10 in Special Forces, I've seen some pretty terrible things, but I hadn't seen evil things till I got into this space of anti-human trafficking, and people really need to open their eyes up to it and understand that it's everywhere, and it's not just a problem when it affects your family, you know?
Locke can't talk much about specific operations because they are still planning and executing missions all the time. But they have helped rescue dozens of women and children, as well as helped authorities arrest traffickers who have received long sentences in those countries.
It's not cheap to go out and help all these people, but at the end of the day, on average, it's about $2,500 for us to rescue a child. That's $2,500 for a little human being's life for the rest of their lives, for us to get them out of this hell that is human trafficking.
Locke says right now the open border in the United States has become a free pass for traffickers and the women, girls, and boys they traffic. They are bringing the sex slaves from Latin American countries straight into the States.
I think people in the United States need to start educating themselves on how big of a problem this really is. And any large-scale tourist destination you go to include in the United States, there's human trafficking there. There's human trafficking that happens in hotels, that happens, you know, at the airport.
And the price of being forced into that is incalculable. Samantha Cabrera is still finding her way.
Hearing that you're nothing, hearing that, you know, somebody else is in control of you, and you're not being able to do what you want to do, and you're forced to have sex with people. You're forced to do acts that you don't want to do, but you have to do, you know, and then you're tortured to do them too. So I think I lost myself.
When they say this is a $150 billion a year industry, when they say it's now the second biggest illegal activity behind the drug trade, that's hard to grasp. But you hear these people, and it is, you know, we love to do stories and talk about things. Not that this is you don't even want to. I mean, it almost leaves you speechless.
Hearing her perspective breaks my heart. Also, hearing him say that it costs $2,500 to potentially save.
What per person? So, like, you know, if you, let's say you go to El Salvador and and you save 8 women. They've calculated it's costing about $2,500.
Do they accept donations then? To
Yeah,
help
they
with what
do.
they're
In
doing?
fact, yeah, Ariel, we're going to put that's great online because there's some great trafficking work being done right here in Nashville. And Ariel Recovery is responsible. They just got the worst trafficker in all of Argentina. He actually had a manifesto where he was teaching people how to put a small child in a suitcase and move them from hotel room to hotel room without suffocating them in the suitcase for trafficking. He's under arrest because of people in Nashville.
Right.
So you are definitely seeing results and saving children's lives right here in Nashville.
All right, Dennis Ferrier, thank you so much, sir. Well, coming up, we've got a live look from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's the Pfizer Forum, they call it. That is where the Republican National Convention gets started later today. We've got the latest update about who's taking.
We are in a code red weather alert once again for heat, just like we were over the previous couple of days here. And now we're talking 99 once again. We've hit that number twice so far this year. We've also hit 100 once. We did it yesterday. So if that's brand new news to you, we could go back to back today. We're that close, where if we don't see some cloud cover make its way close enough to Nashville, we might have triple-digit heat once again. If it were to happen, it'd happen around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that prime time for the heat. Taking a look, no one to mow. I mean, we'll say yes, yes, and yes for all 3 days. The only reason I put the yes with the red is because a few areas will have an isolated shower or thunderstorm until we get to about the evening hours. Then everyone could work into some rain. So if you need to get it done, even though it's hot outside, I know it can be a little bit dangerous during the afternoon hours, but if you do it right before sunset, today or tomorrow, you should be okay. Weekend outlook, not as hot as the last weekend, that's for sure. Scattered storms, though, possible on Saturday and Sunday. No aggressive heat. Heat index won't be as tough. Today's heat index values, even with that 99-degree temperature, going to feel well above that. We can feel as hot as 105 right in the middle of the day.
Steer clear traffic at 7:57. A quick look outside shows us the leftover scene at I-24 Thompson Lane, where we were dealing with a crash involving multiple cars. One tow truck has already come and gone. Looks like they're waiting on at least one more before they completely clear that scene coming in from Antioch. Here are your drive times as we end our 7 o'clock hour. 34 minutes out of Hendersonville into downtown. Murfreesboro is going to take you just over an hour. Mount Juliet into downtown around 37 minutes. That crash in Antioch is the biggest thing we've got going on right now. We'll continue to keep you up to date.
Here in Music City, we talk about all things music, no matter the genre. So rapper turned country star Post Malone is performing in Nashville, but where? We don't really know yet.
How do we not know? Well, fans, we just don't know. Fans, decided they wanted to send direct messages to Bud Light or Facebook or Instagram, trying to figure out exactly where their show is going to be. As we learn more about it, we'll give you updates both on air and online. We just know there will be a Post Malone show at some point tomorrow
so
here in Nashville.
We don't know the time or location, but we do know this about the Vols.
What do we know about them?
Well, Major League Baseball.
Yeah, they're going to be heading there to the big show. Some of them, at least 4 picks in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft from the Tennessee Volunteers. The most players selected in the first 2 rounds of any draft program in their history. Now we're talking about several players out there, including the likes of Christian Moore. He is going to be playing for the Los Angeles Angels out there. Blake Burke taking a role with the Milwaukee Brewers. Billy Emlich taking a role with the Minnesota Twins. And Dylan Dreiling will be taking a role there with the Texas Rangers. So congratulations to all of those players for getting the chance to get out there and play Major League Baseball after, of course, helping the Vols win the national championship just a few weeks ago.
Congrats. Talking about an important recall alert, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has a warning for drivers who purchased a used car. Get your airbags checked. The agency says cheap replacement airbag inflators were tied to 3 deaths and critical injuries in the past year. Now leaders say the airbags may either deploy partially or just too slowly. The agency also says check a used car's history report, and if the car has been in a crash, have a mechanic go ahead and inspect the airbags to make sure the replacement parts are adequate. Stay safe. If you want to read more about that recall alert, we have all the details over on fox17.com.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Well, now on Fox 17 News this morning, 2 days after the assassination attempt on the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, we're hearing this morning from Nashville's mayor and his response to that attempt.
In this all, as we're learning new numbers from the Beacon Center, they're just releasing a poll this morning. We're breaking it down, analyzing it, including what it means after the weekend's events.
And video of neo-Nazis marching through Nashville over the weekend. We understand these 2 men are now facing charges. We're going to share the very latest update from police.
Fox 17 News and a code red weather alert this morning just after 8 o'clock here on this Monday. Thank you for joining us. I'm Justin McFarland.
I'm Erica Glover. Fox 17 News, your only local news source from 7 to 9. We start this 8 o'clock hour talking about, well, nothing else but the weather. Yesterday we reached records 100 degrees for the first time this year.
Yeah, first triple digit day so far this year. We did it twice last year. They were back to back in August. So if we do it again now, it'd be back to back for us. We've already had 2 days hit 99. Yesterday was the first time to eclipse the century mark. Taking a look, though, the bigger deal is the heat and humidity combination. You add those two things together, it's why we're code red for the heat. 100 to 105 is how we're going to feel, and that's not just for an hour or two of the day. I truly believe between noon and 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, we're going to be in that ballpark for heat index values. We need rain desperately in some spots now. We're working ourselves into a really rough drought that this early in the year gets kind of hard to dig your way out of before we get toward the fall. Taking a look, we're in alert mode for code red. Now more dangerous heat today and tomorrow. We get a return to some storms by the middle of the week across the board, and then cooler temperatures by the end of the week. There is light at the end of the tunnel here when it comes to getting some rain that we need and also dropping the temps back down. But look at that. Here we are just past 8 o'clock, 83 degrees already. Now, this is only going to go up, and it's going to go up quickly. By the time we get to 11 o'clock, we're going to be in the 90s already. 80 degrees in Gallatin, 80 in Clarksville, 75 degrees in Murfreesboro. Coming up in your code red forecast, we'll look at the potential for a pop-up shower or two today. We'll also look at the 7-day forecast and a downward trend in temperature by the end of the upcoming week.
Steer clear traffic. Let's get you out to the very latest happening on I-24 near Thompson Lane. That's where we've been following a multi-car crash for a good part of the morning. Glad to see that crash is now completely cleared out of the way. No more problems as you make that drive in from the south side of town. Good news there. Here's a look at I-40 at Fester's Lane. This is the drive in from the east side. We're also looking pretty good over there in that direction. We'll continue to follow things for you, let you know what else we find with steer clear traffic as we're live and local with you through 9.
8:02 is the time. The Republican National Convention is kicking off in Milwaukee today, and former President Donald Trump is set to announce his vice president pick this week.
Now, new numbers show that Tennesseans prefer Nikki Haley for vice president to go along with the former President Trump. That's according to the latest numbers coming in from the Beacon Center, which is a nonprofit policy research group in Nashville.
So we're learning more about those poll numbers. Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey is joining us live with some more updates. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, Justin and Erica. So in addition to those VP numbers, the Beacon Center also showing the results from their poll that former President Trump has a 30-point lead over President Biden right now, again, in Tennessee, according to some of those numbers. And that was all before the assassination attempt this poll conducted. So we've been breaking some of that down and analyzing it with Mark Cunningham here from the Beacon Center. But Mark, we just talked about that about a half hour ago. I want to talk some local numbers right now. Inflation, a big issue across the country. What are you seeing right here, though, in Tennessee?
Yeah, like you said, inflation is the number one issue for everyone across the country. And in Tennessee, it's even worse than we've seen otherwise. 80% of Tennesseans say inflation is a big or very big problem. And only 5% say it's either not a problem or a very minimal problem. So when you have 80% agreeing on something, Democrat, Republican, Independent, all parts of the state, this is clearly a big issue. And people have seen it the most at the grocery store. 85% of people have said that the grocery store is where they've seen the most inflation, where it's affected their lives.
Definitely. A lot of talks the last few years, and they're heating up, it seems, about potentially an MLB team coming to Music City or the area. And you had a question about that. It stood out to me.
It was really, really, kind of a crazy number, but people are really against putting state tax dollars into a new potential MLB stadium. Only 28% of Tennesseans believe it's a good idea, while, almost 60% of Tennesseans say, no, we should not be using state tax dollars on a new stadium. Across party lines, one of the most, the only area you've seen really a lot of consistent people believing that. And even here in Middle Tennessee, where the stadium would be, it was underwater by 27 points. So people have turned on stadium subsidies, and we see that here here in Tennessee as well.
Definitely, Mark. Thank you. Definitely a few headlines being made this morning surrounding those local and national topics, and we'll be talking about some more of the national topics, especially the presidential race, live here from the Beacon Center at 8:30. Live in Nashville, Johnny Maffey, guys. Back to you.
All right, Johnny, thank you so much. Well, shockwaves from the attempted assassination of the former President Donald Trump are still being realized this morning, not just in the political world, but also around the world.
And yes, the former president survived the attack, but one person, a father, a husband, was killed. And as this investigation continues, the FBI is trying to figure out the shooter's motive. Well, our current President Biden, he addressed the public from the Oval Office on Sunday, talking about toning down the rhetoric in America's ultra-polarized national political discourse.
Now, just days after that assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, President Biden did address the nation from the Oval Office. Afterwards, Nashville's Mayor Freddie O'Connell went to social media to try to call for calm after that assassination attempt and some recent gatherings that have taken place here in Nashville.
Nashville's mayor writing, quote, "Sadly, political violence is common throughout American history, as is hate speech. Fortunately, violent and fatal assaults on public leadership are rare, and we all need to just take a closer look at our goal as part of American exceptionalism."
He goes on to say, right now, as we see people putting forth effort into demonstrating hateful ideology publicly in Nashville, we should all work to recognize the incredible power of the First Amendment while rejecting the most hateful and painful possibilities.
And the mayor's statement comes after 2 reports of neo-Nazi protest groups marching through Nashville over this past weekend, the past 2 weekends, in fact.
Yeah, Metro Police arrested at least one member of that neo-Nazi group in downtown. They say that protester got into a fight with an employee at a local bar.
Take a look here. Metro Police say the man on your screen, Ryan Scott McCannon, hit a bar employee with a Nazi flag in the face and in the ribs. He's facing assault charges. The employee, though, Diego Buck, was arrested for disorderly conduct and resisting police. Has also been released, though, on bond.
Now, this all comes just about a week after another hate group marched through the streets of downtown Nashville. Of course, we've got a lot of coverage on that. That is right now on our website over at fox17.com. Well, this morning, a special court in Montgomery County is trying to help military veterans who are facing criminal charges. We're going to tell you why some experts believe that some of these crimes are actually cries for help.
And Fox 17 News showing you a live.
8:09 is the time right now in Montgomery County. There are more than 80 current and former soldiers participating in the Montgomery County Veterans Treatment Court. Now, the goal of this court is to help veterans who are in the criminal justice system. The director of the program says a lot of veterans don't need punishment for crimes, they need help. The #1 crime among veterans in the program is driving under the influence. The director of the court says there's a reason for that.
Some of those are cries out for help. Some of these DUIs are actually suicide attempts. That's a little bit more honorable for a veteran than to dishonor their firearm and take that and harm themselves. So because of the culture that they live in, a lot of them have a lot of alcohol and substance abuse. They wind up getting behind the wheel, and some of them just attempt to take their lives that way.
Director Smith says a large part of his job, believe it or not, is trying to convince veterans that going to counseling is not a bad thing. Well, today kicks off a multi-state crackdown on speeding. The purpose of the 8th annual traffic safety campaign is to increase enforcement out there on the roadways. Let's get out to Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan joining us live out there, who's been speaking with the THP about this latest effort.
Yeah, that's right. And this 5-day operation cracking down on speeding has already begun. I'm actually joined with THP Lieutenant Bill Miller. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Tell me a little bit about this Operation Southern Slowdown.
Operation Southern Slowdown is a partnership between the state of Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, and the state of Florida. Just in those states alone, there were 1,610 people killed last year alone due to speed-related crashes. Another astonishing fact, in 2022 across the United States per NHTSA, there were 11,423 people killed due to speed-related crashes. That's a 25% increase from 2018. And in our states alone that I just mentioned, that's a 14% increase in the last 5 years. So we're partnering with every state, every law enforcement agency, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, the Georgia Governor's Highway Safety Office, and other highway safety offices across the region to get the word out to drivers, slow down, because speed is killing people at a dramatic rate.
Now, during this 5-day period, enforcement will be increased. Is that right? How wide will it go?
It's going to be increased dramatically, yes. Speed is something, as I just said, it is killing people at a dramatic rate. So we're going to take an approach that is also equally dramatic. We're attacking speed from Georgia all the way through Tennessee, across the state, all the way to East Tennessee, to the far east region of the Fall Branch District, Johnson City, northern region to the southern region of the state. Troopers will be out with a zero tolerance for speed.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning. And again, this has already started today and it will go until Friday. So you will be expecting to see more police officers here on the roads across the state of Tennessee, as well as several southern states. For now, live here in Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Coming up in the Code Red forecast, the red lights are on. The heat is dangerous once again. We'll see when the heat breaks, and the next good chance for some much-needed rain returns.
And a slowdown from the north side. This is I-65 at the I-24 junction. We are seeing a slowdown there. 8:16 is the time in this morning's Crisis in the Classroom. There is an Antioch family that is turning to Fox 17 News for some help. This is after they say Metro schools refuse to do anything after their child was repeatedly attacked in one of their schools.
After seeing video of one of the attacks, Fox 17 News' Amanda Chan sat down with the family. And Amanda, you were pressing the district, trying to get some answers for them.
Yes, exactly. That's right. And no child should feel afraid to go to school. But for this 13-year-old girl, the family tells me what's happened at school has caused irreparable damage to her mental and emotional health.
Alanis Lucia Andrade Paz and her family came to the United States from Venezuela in search of a better life. What the family did not expect, an emotional nightmare. In August, Alanis started at Antioch Middle School.
She started living in a world that she had never seen before.
From that first day, her sister, Enyalin Castillo, says students verbally bullied Alanis. Enyalin says the first physical attack happened in October and says Alanis decided not to tell her family because she didn't want to worry them. The family found out about a week later through rumors circulating at school.
At that moment, me particularly, I spoke with her. I asked her why she hid that from us, and she was so afraid that we knew about it.
The family says while the school claimed they were going to investigate what happened, there was never a follow-up. A month later, the family says another incident occurred, this time in the classroom. The attack recorded by several students. The family sent us this video. And Yalene says the school never told her about this attack until the teacher called mom.
It was the teacher actually who after school hours called my mom to let her know she felt like this situation should be fixed between parents.
The parents thought it couldn't get any worse until it did on February 12th.
My mom gets a call from the school to tell her Alanis has come into the classroom throwing up and bleeding, and then she fainted.
First responders ended up taking her to the hospital after drinking from a water bottle someone gave her.
When your family got a call that your sister was in the hospital, how scary was that first moment?
My mom called me screaming. She told me that Alanis couldn't even move any part of her body. She felt her little girl was dying.
The family says the results of one test showed Alanis only positive for alcohol. A second test from another clinic the family sent us showed her positive for drugs. The family tried getting the school to do something via email. Frustrated after they say they didn't receive a response, the family went to Antioch Middle School to demand an in-person meeting with the assistant principal. Because of Alanis' hospital stay, the family decided to keep her home from school. But when she couldn't transfer, they sent her back in May to finish out the school year. Unfortunately, the sister says things didn't get better. Again, another attack caught on video sent to us by the family.
Without permission, I came into his office and I told him that everything my sister has on her face, is that an act? That she has to be dead in order for you to do anything about her? And his answer was that the school year was over.
I reached out to the school district to ask about the family's claims of lack of communication and effort to protect Alanis. A spokesperson says in part, Antioch Middle has followed district policies and procedures in addressing situations related to the student and has met with the parents to discuss her concerns. I followed up with further questions regarding how the family described the lack of action taken by the school. A spokesperson says the principal and executive director met with the family on June 11th, several days after we sat down with the family.
Now, Amanda, that sister really detailed the actions that she has taken so far, but what about the legal action? Is there going to be any kind of that?
Yeah, so the family does have a human rights attorney and they are in the process of taking legal action, and I have been in touch with their attorney and will keep up to date with any official filings. Now, they aren't stopping anytime soon and hope by sharing their story, it will help other families out there going through something similar.
All right, Fox 17 News, Amanda Chen. Thank you so much, Amanda, for your hard work on this story and many others.
Coming up in your forecast, the heat is still sticking with us here. Let's listen to Code Red weather. 8:23 and let's talk heat, let's talk shower storms and how this can get us from where we're at right now to a much more comfortable place by the end of this week. Let's take a look first, gardening forecast, specifically pointing out gardening and one to water because we've not seen quite a bit of rain here lately. 84 degrees at 9 o'clock, 94 at noon, 98 degrees at 3 p.m. Your window of opportunity is closing to still water what we have out there before the sun gets a little too strong. Why do I have red boxes here? You're going to go, well, it's sunny and it's hot out. Don't we need water? We do, but you don't want to do it when the sun is at its peak. When that water tries to go into the soil, it'll actually evaporate before the plants get to use it, and sometimes it can actually pull extra moisture out of the roots of the plants. So do it right after sunrise the first couple of hours. So I'd say from 6 o'clock through 9, or do it after 7 o'clock before we get to sunset. That does go down at 8. Rain chances, I mean, they're there, but they're not big for today and tomorrow. Much better when we're going to Wednesday and Thursday. Let's take a look at today. High pressure moves away. This is what's been keeping the rain away from us. And once it does so between noon and 6 p.m., we could see a pop-up shower or two. I mean, you see right here, it's not impressive by any means. 1 or 2 dots on the radar can't be ruled out. That's it for today. Tomorrow, we'll wake up dry again. And then for the afternoon, same scenario, 11 a.m. taking us into the afternoon, a few more pop-up showers and weak storms. Maybe you do hear a rumble of thunder, no severe weather, nothing to worry about in terms of that. But Wednesday, cold front begins to move in going toward the afternoon. That will fire off a broken line of showers and storms late Wednesday into Thursday. Today's high, 99 degrees. We hit 100 yesterday. Coming up in about 5 minutes as we go into our 8:30 half hour, we'll piece together your 7-day forecast as soon as we start talking, and then we'll get each day-to-day outlook hammered out when it comes down to hour-by-hour forecasts.
Steer clear traffic takes us to the north side of town. This is going to be I-65 at the I-24 junction. We are dealing with moderate slowdowns here, but it's actually a lot better than the way it looked about 30 minutes ago. So things are starting to thin out a little bit there on that north side. Great news for those of you coming down from Madison, Goodlettsville, Hendersonville, Millersville, and the rest of the villas there to the north side. This is 24 Hickory Hollow Parkway coming in from Antioch. We had an earlier crash very close to Thompson Lane. That has now cleared. So the traffic there looking a lot better than what we saw earlier in the morning.
Justin, thank you. Right now in Operation Crime and Justice, Metro homicide detectives are busy investigating the deadly shooting of a woman Sunday morning at the trailhead just off the Alta Lake Greenway. We're mapping it out for you. It's off Dodson Chapel Road in Hermitage. Police say the victim is a black woman in her 20s with long braids. They're now asking anyone who might have more information. Maybe you saw something. Go ahead and call police.
Operation Crime and Justice, as a mother is now facing charges connected to the drowning death of her child. According to police, it is Brandy Elliott who is charged now with first-degree murder. This is after police say she was responsible for the drowning death of her child in the Drakes Creek area. This is close to Sanders Ferry Road. Investigators say that Elliott is responsible for the child's death, but they're not giving a lot more details than that. She's currently being held in the Sumner County Jail.
Coming up after the break here on Fox 17, new local polling numbers showing former President Trump with a 30-point lead over President Biden. But we'll talk about how the assassination attempt.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Now on Fox 17 News this Monday morning, we have continuous coverage of Saturday's assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump, including how it's impacting the RNC convention in Milwaukee and the latest poll results. Tennessee voters sharing their vice president preferences.
Our first 100-degree temperature is in the books for this year, and we might see a back-to-back repeat performance today. What has to happen to hit that number, and when we finally get cooler in your forecast?
I-65 at Boers Lane is the latest look at steer clear traffic out there on the south side. We're doing pretty well so far. We're going to take you to a few other places around town coming up in a few minutes.
I think I just heard what Greg had to say, and I'm already hot.
Yeah, well, that's easily done here with temperatures like what Greg is talking about. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning, just after 8:30 on another hot day. I'm Justin McFarland.
And I'm Erica Glover. Yes, we are on a Code Red weather alert. Is continuing on. In fact, let's just get straight on over to Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus.
Sure, let's do it. Let's just jump right in, talk about all the big things and then the little tweaks to the forecast that'll help us by the end of the week. Dangerous heat. What's new this morning? Well, heat index values today will be hotter than yesterday. 105 to 110. Same with tomorrow. Thunderstorms return Wednesday. There is a small chance for an isolated pop-up shower or weak storm today or tomorrow. I am not really buying it into it all that much, especially today. Tomorrow's a little bit better, but the good rain comes in on Wednesday. What do I mean by good rain? We're in quite a bit of a drought now. We really need rain to catch up. I know it can be inconvenient, but we need a few inches worth of rain to get back where we're supposed to be. 83 right now already. We're going to be in the upper 90s, near 100 again. Thankfully, no real influence when it comes to the forecast and your traffic this morning. We're dry until lunchtime at least, if not completely dry given the circumstances. A few clouds will be out there later today. I'm tossing an umbrella in the back seat just in case for today and tomorrow. You don't want to leave and then get stuck under one of those only little tiny downpours that pop up on the radar and ruin your day. Just toss it in the back seat. You likely won't be having to use it. Look at temperatures. We're back up to 90 before we even get to 11 o'clock. Highs today, we're going to be above the 95-degree mark from 1 p.m. all the way through 6, 7 o'clock this evening. That is a long stretch of 90-degree heat. That's why the heat index has us into a code red alert for prolonged time outside. It's just too dangerous. Taking a look, crystal clear right now, though. We'll take a look ahead to when the temperatures drop off into the 80s for highs, and we'll keep our eyes on a future track for any updates here before we get to 9 a.m. on any potential rain later today.
Steer clear traffic takes us to the side of town there on the south side is where we're going to begin actually here. 65 at Boers Lane in the Franklin area, Cool Springs to be exact. That is where traffic is moving along very, very well. No big tie-ups in either direction out there. Good news as you make that drive in from Williamson County. Here's a look at I-24 Haywood Lane. This is in Antioch, also looking very nice out there on that drive. Here are your overall drive times here as we get you started here at this 8:30 half hour. Clarksville into downtown at 56 minutes. Murfreesboro now under an hour, 54 minutes. Hendersonville still a little slow from the north side, 34 minutes though, not that bad. Coming down I-65 at Vietnam Vets.
Continuous coverage now because just days after an assassination attempt at former President Donald Trump's Pennsylvania rally, he is now gearing up for the Republican National Convention over in Milwaukee.
Meanwhile, here in Middle Tennessee, we are diving into some brand new numbers coming in from the non-for-profit research group called the Beacon Center. They're polling points to Tennessee voters wanting the former president to select Nikki Haley as the vice presidential candidate.
All right. Well, joining us is Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey. You have more on those results. What do we need to know? Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, Justin and Erica. So in addition to those vice presidential numbers for Tennessee Trump voters, we're also learning that in the state, according to the Beacon Center, former President Trump has a 30-point lead over President Biden, and Mark Cunningham's been one of the ones telling us that, breaking things down. Thanks for coming back on the show this morning, Mark. What did you learn putting this all together about that lead in the race for the White House?
Yeah, well, what's interesting is the felony charge actually helped President Trump. When he was found guilty, more people in Tennessee were likely to vote for him, and he increased his lead by 10 points from the last poll.
Okay, so that's definitely something. Now, another thing that is certainly going to affect things, the assassination attempt over the weekend. This poll conducted before that happened, but what sort of insight do you have as to where things could go now?
Yeah, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and former President Trump, of course. But ultimately, when this happened previously, we expect to see a pretty steep rise in President Trump's approval rating. I'm guessing it goes over 50% if President Reagan is a good indication, or George Bush after 9/11. But ultimately, I think he'll get an instant bump, maybe 5 to 7 points in the race. That will likely close to maybe 1 or 2 by Election Day, but it will still certainly help him in the race against Joe Biden in some swing states.
Yeah, and such a long way away here. Quickly, just how much are things really going to ride the wave?
Yeah, I mean, we see it with the conventions. You're going to see Trump get a bump after the RNC. You'll see Biden likely get a bump after the DNC. So there's still a lot of time left, a lot of time for news. But right now, Trump feels pretty good, probably about a 70% chance of winning based on, some of the prediction markets.
Definitely, Mark. Thanks so much. Another thing the Beacon Center is sharing with us, Senator Blackburn with a 20-point lead over her potential Democrat opponents as well. And we have some more local numbers right on our website as well, fox17.com. Live in Nashville, Johnny Maffey, guys. Back over to you.
All right, Johnny, thank you so much. Well, one man has died after police say he was hit by a wrong-way driver on I-24. This is in Montgomery County. You're taking a look at video from Dash 10 Media showing that scene last night. Police say that it was Christopher Munwa that was driving the wrong direction on I-24 when he hit a motorcycle that was driven by a 21-year-old named Ethan Tran. That crash was head-on. The interstate was shut down for several hours while police conducted their investigation.
Coming up, a disturbing case out of Clarksville where police need your help trying to track down these masked men. Do you recognize them? More about the home invasion suspects.
Plus, a live look this morning from the White House. President Biden had an Oval Office address last night asking the nation to tone it down when it comes to some of the political rhetoric that is out there. This is, of course, after the assassination attempt of former President Trump over the weekend. We actually
8:39 our time. Welcome back and good morning. Here we are. We're in a code red weather alert for the heat. We're all trying to beat the heat. That's going to include these three here, our dogs of the day we have sent in from Murfreesboro. David and Julie sent them in. We've got Cherry, we've got Spring, and Mocha. And, well, Mocha's great for autumn. Cherries make me think of spring, but none of this says anything more than we're just going to have a hot day ahead of us for your dog walk. So make sure we're limiting our time outside if we can. If you want to get out there right now, you're going to be set up way better than if you wait a couple hours. Take a look at how quickly we get to 90 degrees, 92 by 11 o'clock, 94 degrees by lunchtime. We're going to stay at or above the 90-degree mark from right around 10:30, 11 o'clock through sunset. That's going to be a very long day like yesterday. We hit 100 yesterday. What does lunchtime have in store for us here? We get past that 12 o'clock hour and we continue to build the heat. 96 by 1 p.m. Not really a drop of rain in the forecast until at least after lunchtime. One or two of us, especially far close to the Alabama state line, could see a pop-up shower or a weak storm, but that actually has been a dwindling threat throughout the morning. Everything continuing to show us things looking drier and drier for today. And it's proven that heat can actually make your brain work harder and give you brain fog if you're not staying hydrated. So I want to know, on a normal day, my curious question today, our brains burn up to how many calories, roughly how many calories per day just doing normal activities keeping us going? 1 to 200, 2 to 300, 3 to 400, or 4 to 500. We'll have a look at the answer to this. We'll take you through your 7-day forecast. I've got a couple of days in the 80s for highs. You don't want to miss it.
Steer clear traffic at 841. A quick look here at I-40 at Fesser's Lane. This is just east of downtown. Traffic there rolling along, even though it's a bit slow as you make that drive in from the east side. This is congestion, okay? No major accidents there slowing you up as you make that drive in. This is just normal people getting out there on the road at the same time. It's called rush hour, and that's exactly what's happening here. The other thing we're following is the drive coming down from Clarksville. So coming in is fine. If you're coming in from Montgomery County to Nashville, that road is clear. The problem is going back the other way. If you need to leave the Whites Creek area, Jolton, going towards Montgomery County, that is where we have the slowdown. You can see the long red line right there on I-24. You want to use Highway 41A running right next door to it. That's going to be your best bet to steer clear.
All right, Justin, thank you. In Operation Crime and Justice, we're going to Clarksville. Look at this. Clarksville police are trying to track down 2 home invasion suspects. And police say this all went down on Linwood Circle back on June 29th. And now Clarksville police also say the armed intruders, they tied a woman up and took her belongings. That is so scary. Wow. At least one of the people who entered the home also had a gun. So if you're looking at this and you say, I think I recognize the men on our screen, go ahead and call Crime Stoppers immediately.
Let's take a live look this morning from the RNC in Milwaukee. This is inside the arena there. They call it the Pfizer Forum, and that is going to be the home to the Republican National Convention for the next few nights. The biggest announcement people are waiting for: who's going to be the vice presidential candidate? That announcement is expected to happen this week. Fox 17 News will continue to provide our live coverage there from Milwaukee throughout the week.
Good morning, welcome back. Time right now is 8:45. Taking a look at the curious question we left you off with. We'll get you a curious answer to it. And then we'll dig our way into the forecast and give you everything you need to know here on this Monday morning. So our brains burn roughly how many calories per day? The answer is 400 to 500 calories just from everyday brain function, getting you moving, getting the body parts going. And then when you do get into a hot day like this, your brain does have to work harder, which doesn't necessarily help us out here. Yeah, you'll burn more calories, but it gets you kind of that fog when you're not staying hydrated, when we're not taking care of making sure that we're finding some shade here and there. Boy, do we need rain. Let's talk about that real quick. Here's a look at the calendar. We've had 3 days with at least a drop of rain in the bucket. We've only seen 3/10 of an inch of it so far this month. That puts us more than 1.5 inches in the hole. We are in a drought if you are south of I-40, and that's why we're going to talk about a couple things in the coming days until we catch up a little bit. Let's not be burning stuff outside. There aren't any burn bans out there, but when we have the crunchy grass like this and you haven't had rain day after day and we have the sun at the strongest point in the year, make sure we're just kind of being cautious in every way that we can. That includes just trying to stay healthy and safe outside. We're code red for the heat index value today and tomorrow of 100 to 105, actual air temps in the upper 90s. We do see a cold front move in on Wednesday. And finally, by Thursday and Friday, we'll be back below average into the middle to upper 80s for high temperatures and kick away a little of the humidity as well.
And a Fox 17 News investigates this morning. There's a human trafficking survivor who was kidnapped as a teenager who is now sharing their story.
Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier joining us live in the studio this morning with her story. And a warning, it is a graphic story.
A Clarksville woman kidnapped at 15 years old and trafficked to dozens of men, and a Nashville group of former soldiers fighting trafficking worldwide. This is a big problem that people are still barely talking about.
Samantha Cabrera was just 15 years old. Problems at home in Murfreesboro led her to living with an aunt in New York. She met someone on the internet, they met in person. The next day she was in hell, in a basement, in the dark, naked with a bucket, forced to have sex with countless men.
And every time these men would come do what they do, they would tell me, like, here, wash off. You know, like, if you got to use the bathroom, just use it right there. Like, I was naked using the bathroom, like, 2 feet away from me, you know? It was just all horrible.
That was 13 years ago. Samantha still struggles with that nightmare that lasted a month.
You know, it's changed a lot in my life, the way I shower and everything, you know? I never feel clean, so I've always taken showers after showers after showers.
Here in Nashville, Aerial Recovery is now working in 8 countries in Latin America to break up human trafficking rings. Jeremy Locke will tell you it's the most difficult and important work he has ever done, and that's saying something.
I tell you what, 20 years in the Army, 10 in Special Forces, I've seen some pretty terrible things, but I hadn't seen evil things till I got into this space of anti-human trafficking, and people really need to open their eyes up to it and understand that it's everywhere, and it's not just a problem when it affects your family, you know?
Locke can't talk much about specific operations because they are still planning and executing missions all the time. But they have helped rescue dozens of women and children, as well as helped authorities arrest traffickers who have received long sentences in those countries.
It's not cheap to go out and help all these people, but at the end of the day, on average, it's about $2,500 for us to rescue a child. That's $2,500 for a little human being's life for the rest of their lives, for us to get them out of this hell that is human trafficking.
Locke says right now the open border in the United States has become a free pass for traffickers and the women, girls, and boys they traffic. They are bringing the sex slaves from Latin American countries straight into the States.
I think people in the United States need to start educating themselves on how big of a problem this really is. And any large-scale tourist destination you go to include in the United States, there's human trafficking there. There's human trafficking that happens in hotels, that happens, you know, at the airport.
And the price of being forced into that is incalculable. Samantha Cabrera is still finding her way.
hearing that you're nothing, hearing that, you know, somebody else is in control of you, and you're not being able to do what you want to do, and you're forced to have sex with people. You're forced to do acts that you don't want to do, but you have to do, you know, and then you're tortured to do them too. So I think I lost myself.
When they say this is a $150 billion a year industry, when they say it's the second biggest illegal activity behind drugs, it's hard to grasp, especially if you look at that money and think the amount of people and the pain, the incredible pain. You know, Samantha, she's 28. This was 13 years ago. She's not even close to healed. I mean, she's trying to talk about it, and she's a great person, but she's not healed.
No, and you hear that when she says, I lost myself.
Yes.
And having to find yourself again after going through all of that is unimaginable.
Right, at 15, baby. It's awful.
These are just some of the missions, by the way, that aerial recovery is responsible for.
That's a good point.
I know they're also doing a lot of work in Ukraine, for instance. You've done stories about that as well.
Yeah, they have 5,000. They are really focusing now on, they have now agreements with 8 different countries in South America and Central America. So they are constantly now going from rescue mission to rescue mission of sex slavery. That's their big mission now.
Okay.
So it's
and
pretty
can you
awesome.
still point out, can we go online to find out more information?
Yeah, you can find out and donate and help their cause, because, you know, it's expensive to go into these countries and rescue women and children. What's better? What's more important?
All right. Thank you, Dennis Ferrier. Amazing stories as usual. Coming up, we've got another look at your forecast. Plus, this is I-65 at Trinity Lane. .54 is the time, and new this morning, Metro Police arrested at least one member of a neo-Nazi group in downtown Nashville. They say that a protester got into a fight with an employee of a local bar.
We've been covering this all morning long. We do know Metro Police say the man right here on your screen is Ryan Scott McCann. He hit a bar employee, according to police, with a Nazi flag in the face and in the ribs. Now he's facing multiple assault charges. The employee, Diego Buck, was arrested for disorderly conduct and resisting police. He has been released, though, on bond.
Now, this all comes just about a week ago after another hate group, as some people would call them, marching through the streets of downtown Nashville. The mayor has responded, just calling for a nice transition away from some of this kind of activity, asking Nashvillians to remain peaceful in the face of the hatred.
We're going to check in with our Code Red meteorologist talking about the Code Red weather alert day that we are into right now.
Oh, yes, we are. Today and tomorrow, more of what you had yesterday. Yesterday hit 100. Just because we might not hit that specific number today, it's actually going to feel hotter, believe it or not.
Yes.
Heat index value is going to be between 100 and 105.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
You never age. Every time, it's been a while since we've hung out together, and you still have that cool teen-ness vibe to yourself, you know?
Well, God bless you. Thank you.
Well, you know, once again, I mentioned that you are a Grand Ole Opry member now, and I got to